All right, welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. This is episode 35. I am your host, Supreme King, and I am joined by my co-host, and his name is...
It's your guy Omazes.
What's going on, man? How you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's Super Bowl Sunday. I am excited.
Oh yeah. Super Bowl Sunday. You know what? I also got to mention for everybody who liked the snow season, it's like... Sucks to be you. I'm happy that the snow season is not really existent here because I don't know what's going on, but it is not here. And I'm loving it because I hate driving in the snow with everybody else who's maniacs in the snow. But it's like legitimately non-existent. Like I remember either last week or the week before, we was talking about like the snow a little bit. Like, oh, it's probably going to come back eventually. Like literally it's not here. It's like gone. And I know that you probably were going to say like, oh, you're going to jinx it. But it's like, I looked at this report where they was just like, if we don't really get too much of it, like it's got like 30 days left where they can legitimately do something. It's like, we're really counting this down. I really count down the snow season, bro. I really do. Cause I cannot stand it. But like that junk is like non-existent. And I'm like, yo, this is cool. Cause February is usually the most snowy time of the year for where we are, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's all I gotta say on that. We can get right into
just like that. We about to get snow tomorrow.
Oh my god, it might sprinkle, but the sun be out.
Yeah.
We be hitting them 40-degree weather sometime, you know. But yeah, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Jam-packed show. We're gonna start off with the Nintendo Direct. If you haven't seen my vid, go watch it. But we're gonna talk about a lot more of that in detail here, because I only paraphrased a few stuff that stood out to me. But there's more detail, and then more talk about Zelda Tears of the Kingdom as well. A little bit more detail there. You'll get my co-host perspective on that as well. The elephant in the room. Shout out to the elephant in the room. And also a few things that we forgot from last time, or I forgot, that I literally wrote down and didn't get, that we'll talk about briefly. We're going to end it with the Last of Us review of episode 4 and 5. We're probably going to be in more detail on 5 because 5 was the hot episode, like really hot. So
yeah, it was. Oh, yeah, it was.
You can cut out early if you don't want to be spoiled, or just come back to it afterwards. But that's the agenda for that. A few games here and there, and yeah. So we can start off right away with the Nintendo content, because there's Nintendo content on the screen right now. This is just some gameplay from Age of Calamity, but you know, Nintendo had a direct. It was largely more positive to a lot of people from what I was seeing from a lot of their videos and stuff. And you got to see this, right? You got to see the full show.
And to be honest, like I was interested really in like 2.5 games besides Tears of the Kingdom. Like that goes without saying. But, that Deca Police and the Master Detective Archives raid code. So the two cop games that they showed off, because it was like solve puzzles and investigate and all this other stuff. That seemed interesting. And then I broke down to check out Etrian Odyssey because the graphics or whatever they showed looked good, but I'm not sure what the game's about. So I got to look into that.
Yeah, I remember when that got up there, because I think that's support from like the GameCube days.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to be honest, like almost everything that was a port, the first thing that came to my mind was emulation.
Yep.
It was just like the first thing. And it's not like I'm trying to be that guy. It was just that the main thing I was happy to see was there was more Metroid, you know, awareness at this point. I got to call it awareness because that was the one thing that they showed, Metroid Prime, that was like a little bit more properly priced. Because I feel like they priced one thing improperly, and then they priced this game properly, in my opinion. Because they started off was like, okay, it's $40, and you can buy it right now for $40. And I kind of feel like that probably should be the price of a lot of ports, where they're at that kind of quality, GameCube quality. It should be at 40 instead of 60. Even though, like, I think the Kirby port, which ironically is not even GameCube, it was the port from the 3DS, which was what's the name of it? It's the
Was
Kirby
that the
game.
Megalore? The Megalore Return to Dreamland?
Yeah, that one. The Return to Dreamland.
All right, I got something to say about that one too, though.
Go ahead.
That Megalore game, their advertisement for it was horrible. So when it was showing the Megalore stuff, they described the game like when they were describing like the game, like the things you could do. They were describing a video game. Like it was like Megalore lost all his powers, so he could only hit and jump. So go through, defeat enemies, and you gain experience. And with the experience, you can unlock powers, and then you can use those powers to go through the game. And it's like that's what a video game is. You beat opponents, you get experience, you unlock a tree for powers. And it was like I don't understand. Like the only interesting part was there, like you can unlock them in any order, as you go through stuff. But like past that, they just described a video game as they were describing this game, and I'm like, that you did nothing to make it sound extra interesting. Like you just described what would do, like generically. Like you can replace Megalore with like a lot of different stuff, and like that's God of War. You walk through, you fight enemies, you gain experience, you unlock abilities. Like they described a game.
Yeah. I will say the positive thing for me that's probably like a new-ish game. This is probably not new, so I say new-ish. Octopath Travelers 2. The thing about it for me was it's not really a game that I want to play. It's just the fact that they give you a demo to try. You know, there's a couple games here that actually got demos, but that particular one is like considered a big game for a certain type of community. I have to say, like, I think Triangle Strategy was like another one at one point. It was like the people who play these type of games was like, yeah, but I get a demo here where I can try it. And like my Forspoken demo video was probably considered more negative, if anything, but at least I got to try it, you know? And if it wasn't for me, it wasn't for me. But at least with this one, I get to try that type of art style and that type of gameplay, which is something I don't normally do, unless it probably was an old school Pokemon or something, right? I don't really play a game like that. So that was a big deal for me. But I had to go on the negative side for a couple of these things, like the Fire Emblem Engage DLC. Now, it's probably cool that they got DLC, but the first thing I'm thinking was like, yo, this game just came out. Why wasn't it in the base game? That was probably my biggest gripe. I had to go there with Splatoon 3's DLC too, where they just did like a season pass or something. I'm like, some of these games was like really right around the corner from now. Like, Splatoon 3 was out for a little bit longer, but Fire Emblem Engaged, like, that junk is like last month, if I'm not mistaken. Like, that junk was not that old. That's like new. So for them to be like, here's a season pass or here's a DLC, I was like, what? Like, why wasn't that in the base game? So I'm just I'm speaking for that fan base a little bit. Like, I wonder if there's somebody who might think that, because it's like, it leads into the Zelda talk later on, where I kind of feel like your shoestrings are being pulled a little bit, if that's so to speak. It's just like, I feel like it just should have been in the game. That's how I look at it. Just for whatever that season
DLC released like that soon outside of a release of a game.
Yeah.
Definitely is like, it feels more cut than
like it was glanced over. It was glanced over by a lot of people. I didn't see nobody really point that out. And that was the immediate thought. That was my immediate thought. Like, if it was like the Mario Kart 8 DLC, which I think they call it Wave 4, it's like that kind of makes sense a little bit.
Well, it was out for a long time, and then instead of making you pay $70 for a new one, they just started releasing the extra levels that would have been in it. Because and now they're even releasing characters. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it was another character too.
Like I said, and it was the way I described, I think we talked about Xenoverse 2, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2.
Yeah.
where I was saying that like even though they are still releasing packs, I think that's better than if you paying the full price for a new game to get these packs when they don't have anything new story wise. So they're just like it doesn't feel like a cash grab. It's like, well, here's the extra stuff, and it feels more like you're paying them for them to keep. It's almost like a live service thing, but like
Yeah.
better done in my head. Like you get to pick and choose. If you don't want the DLC and you've done with the game, you're done with the game. You don't want the DLC. If you're still playing it or you want to return to it, it's like, well, let me buy this for $5 and recheck out what's happening in this game, as opposed to having to drop 70 and they did nothing new but add that anyways. But when it's so soon after, it does feel a little cheap.
That junk was like a month later with that Fire Emblem. I'm like, yo, that just came out. I was like, oh, bro, I don't know about this.
On a more positive note, though, when they were showing the retro games that were coming to the online service, all I kept thinking was just how far video games have come. Like, I don't know, in my head I was like comparing a little bit between like Metroid or some of the like travel, like walking around games and everything, and then comparing it to like where God of War is now. And it's just like that's crazy. Like Metroid was full green. Like the whole screen.
Yeah. I think that one was Return to Metroid, and then they had the very first Kirby game in one of them Game Boy games.
And you even compare it to like Metroid Dread or the new Kirby game. And it's just like, wow, like how far stuff has just come. Like that is amazing.
Yeah, the technology is crazy, because my point in one post that I made was that I have access to all of this in emulation, and I didn't want to just write it off like it was a bad thing. It was just, it didn't do too much for me because I have those games and more already. Because I did that junk like 2-3 years ago when I was just really trying to set up my PC stuff. But a lot of those games that was like right then and there, anybody who's watching this can literally play it on their phone. They can have a potato phone and they can play it on their phone. I have the setup for Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and DS all on my phone. You know, so it doesn't do too much for me, but it might do a lot for somebody who never had that and they have access to online already. Because if you have access to online already, you get to, you know, just experience some of them games right away. There were some of them that were probably going to come later on. I think in my vid, I misspoke about one thing. Metroid Fusion is not on their day one when they announced the Game Boy games. They said it was coming later, and they showed that one and a few other ones, and I think I said that it was on there right away, so I kind of got that wrong. But Fusion was one of my favorite. Metroid Fusion was like my favorite Game Boy Advance game, and that one is like now being, you know, showcased to the people. That's technically the very last game before Dread in the chronological order. And it was like 16 years prior, I think, which is crazy when you think about it. So, it was still some good stuff. It's also like they're kind of a few years behind the mark on some of these things. I feel like it would have been way more impactful if Switch Online, all this stuff was like day one when the Switch was made. Because emulation been going for a minute, man. I've been emulating on older like laptops and stuff that I've had in the past, and some of them games was games that I played. Like it wasn't just Metroid Fusion that came out on the Game Boy Advance. There was one called Metroid Zero Missions. I had Fusion as a kid, but Zero Missions was one that I played like years later, all on emulation, you know. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's gonna, you know, get added.
Well, I mean, this will also be convenient for the people who don't want to emulate, or they want it all just on the Switch and can play it off of the TV. Or sometimes it might be easier, like if you don't have like a good, I guess, decent laptop setup is how you feel, or like a computer setup, or even just showing your kids. Like if you're trying to get them interested, you could just get it directly on the system and like hey, grab your Joy-Cons, let's play. Like, let me show you what I used to play back in the day, or something like that.
For Metroid Prime, I wish it was the trilogy though. I really wish they did the full trilogy at one. I could have justified the trilogy being 60 if they did the trilogy, because it would have been 3 of them. But it's kind of unfortunate a little bit. Well, it's okay right now because they don't have Metroid Prime 4 out. But it'll be kind of weird if like 1 is out, 4 is out, but you have no access to 2 and 3. It'll be kind of silly. It'll be silly. Hopefully they do 2 and 3 as well. Maybe that gives them enough time to stretch it out if they really don't have 4 ready. Because they mentioned, or they announced Metroid Prime 4 at like 2017. Like, I almost feel like they might have regretted it a little bit because now they have to like follow it through, I guess. But Metroid being priced at 40, I don't think was like because they were being nice about it. I think it has something to do with the Metroid sales in general, because apparently Metroid, I guess, doesn't fit the mold of Nintendo as much as some of the other games. It's more mature. It doesn't look nothing like Kirby. It doesn't look nothing like Yoshi, nothing like the Mario. That one could easily be on one of the other systems because of how it's still associated very heavily with Nintendo, of course, but it's more Doom than anything. It's like Doom Eternal for Nintendo, you know? Or some people even equate it to Returnal just from the aesthetics. Like, so I don't know, but I am happy that that's getting its praise, because that was one of the bigger things on that show, like right in the middle. You know, Kirby does make the sale, so they priced that bad boy at 60. So I was like, I don't think that one's worth 60, but I think they said they added something to it. I don't know if you caught that. Like, it's not just a direct port. I think they're doing the same thing as what they did with the Mario game from Wii U when they added Bowser's Fury to that one Super Mario 3D Land or 3D World. They did something like that. So yeah, but some other games here, like I wrote down a bunch of stuff, but they were really rapid firing a lot of these. There was one called Harmony something, or Harmony, and then Katamari Reroll, I think. Katamari Reroll.
Yeah.
Sea of Stars, Omega Strike. Like, some of these were just getting thrown out there really fast. I had to go back and just like start writing them down. There was one that I thought was out, because I remember they showed this a while back. I think it was called Blanc or Blank. It was
Blanc.
Yep, I really thought that was out, like, because I remember they showed that a while back, and it was like one of those games that looked like it was gonna make you cry almost.
I thought it came out last year.
Yeah, they were just like, here it is. I was like, oh, I thought this was out. Same thing goes with the Mega Man collection, because they do a lot of Mega Man collections. But yeah, I thought that was also out. There was one game that I highlighted before. It was called Have a Nice Death.
Yeah, that one was out on Steam already, but like I want to try that, but I want to make sure when I play it, I can give it the time it deserves, because it looks good.
Yeah. Was there anything else that stood out to you from this direct, per se, before we get to who?
Yeah, just those police games were the ones that seemed interesting to me.
Yeah.
Oh, and they're making another I feel like I'm gonna butcher the name because I mainly played
there was a Bayonetta.
I mainly into Phoenix,
prequel.
right? It was
the
Dr. Latham? What is it?
Professor Layton and the New
Professor
World
Layton.
of Steam.
So these were like Professor Layton. So Phoenix Wright, the lawyer game, where basically you're like listening to testimonies and putting together clues and everything like that to solve something. Professor Layton, he did the same thing, like putting together clues and everything to solve mysteries. So they've had crossovers between the two. And so that's cool that he's coming back. They had the little elf thing. For those who are fans of the series, I was gonna dive more into the Phoenix Wright. I have the trilogy that I want to like really get into, and then he was next that I was gonna check out. So yeah, that should be cool. Other than that, it was okay. It was fine.
I think we might dive into your other footage early on this, so I'm gonna try to give you some time if you need it in a second. But right before the other thing, you did say you liked the E-Train Odyssey collection, right? You
based off of the appearance, I was like, okay, this is something I'll look into.
Yeah, I'll probably tell you more about it off air on how you could probably see. That's bad. I don't know. I don't want. No, you support the developer. I'm not. You support the developer, young man. I'm not going to tell you anything.
Oh, okay. Well, I wanted to see more gameplay and like what it was like exactly like, but the premise interests me. So
yeah. I think Minecraft Legends was flashed. Tales of Symphony was flashed. You know, ports. Then they had like a couple Disney games, one old, one new, if I'm not mistaken. Disney Dreamland Valley, and then also I wrote it at a different spot. It was 2 Disney games though. That was one of them. There was another one there.
Oh, the Mickey Mouse one. Like Epic Mickey, I believe.
Yeah, some of them other ones was there. The main thing for me was that they put out some demos for some games that I don't normally play. There was some extra ones here that we glancing over that I think we probably shouldn't glance over. Pikmin 4, I guess, was a big deal. The way they presented it, it didn't do nothing for me. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't trying to be negative about it. But nothing for me.
In fairness, though, I didn't play Pikmin 1, 2, or 3, so of course it did nothing for me. I'm sure those who played those are like, oh shoot, Pikmin 4. So.
But for Xenoblade 3, I think it's a big deal for that fan base to get that DLC. You know, that's probably a bigger deal for them. That fashion game, also nothing for me. Monkey Rush, I think, was one of them. I just kind of looked at it. I was like, all right.
You don't want to play the fashion game?
No.
Like, you don't want to be a
fashion dreamer, I think, or whatever it's called. I don't know.
You don't want to make fashion. That is insane. No. That is crazy that you don't want to play.
Now, the Castlevania one, the Dead Cells Dracula DLC, that looked all right.
Yeah.
That
it's
Bayonetta,
more like, I don't know what was happening there.
That
be honest.
Actually turned me off a little bit. I was like, oh, I can play this right before I play the other Bayonettas, because I actually am one of those people who owned Bayonetta but didn't play it. I'm gonna be honest. And I didn't buy 3 yet, but I have 1 and 2 technically. I had 2, and it came with 1 as like a part of it. There was some copies that actually came with 1. So when I bought 2, that was one of the reasons why I bought 2 too. It's like, oh, it came with the first one, so it's like I got both games for like $25 or whatever. That was my logic, so I got it. But the prequel, the gameplay of it didn't look that interesting. That might be another one of them bad boys that I just get from the library real quick. Same thing with that $60 Kirby game. But because that's how I did the other game, but I actually liked it, so I went back and got it. Maybe it'll do the same thing for me. Tron Identity, another one that didn't do nothing for me, unfortunately.
It did not look as good. I really like Tron Evolution, that video game that I'll talk about. But like, this was very not that. Like, this was like, okay.
Beaten Krytos 1 and 2 remaster. I think that's how you say it. I don't know.
Okay.
That didn't do much for me. I wrote them all down, but remember, some of these, they just rapid fired it at you. And it's funny because it's like one of the points I was trying to make was like, by the time you get to like right now, where it's 3 or 4 days later, you done forgot most of it. You know, I think that show, I still liked it, but I think it would have benefited to be in like 2 shows, basically, one this month, one maybe next month. And like the next month show probably would have had the Tears of the Kingdom on it at the end, and this month was probably the Shadow Drop, along with the Shadow Drop in the main event being like Metroid Prime, basically. And they flesh out or stretch out a couple of these other ones, because some of them had like the fastest 60 seconds ever. It was just like boom, here's this port, boom. I'm like, take your time and tell me what it is, or else I'm gonna treat it.
It was for the people who already knew what it was to replay.
The reason why I gave Octopath Travelers a little bit more of a thing because that one had a demo and I've heard people talk about it a little bit more. But if it wasn't for that, I would probably been like, oh, it's another one of them that they're kind of writing off. They gave that one a couple extra minutes though. They gave him like maybe 2-3 minutes. But some of them other ones, it was just like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, all right. But real quick, I don't know how long you want to spend on this part, but Tears of the Kingdom is $69.99. How do you feel about that? When that first flashed the screen, it didn't actually flash the screen. Matter of fact, they took kind of, I'm gonna be honest, the word that came to mind for me was coward. I know that seems strong.
Ooh, yeah.
That seemed, that was the first thing that came to my mind because all of the stuff leaked like the day before. Where it was just like, oh, this is actually being listed at 70, and the places that had it listed at 60, they had to halt it basically, and it was like frozen on the page. And the next time you go back and refreshed, it was 70, and we were just like, what? Why is it showing as 70? And then the next day they show the trailer, flash the release date for a second, and they paused for a while on that release date, but did not flash the price. They did not flash it at all. And I'm like, that was one of the main things for the show I was wondering if they was going to be bold enough to say it, but they never did. And I think they finally was questioned on it. Somebody asked them 2 questions and they gave the same answer twice, where they were just like, it's not going to be every game, but we're doing it at a case by case basis. And then somebody was just like, what are the other cases or something? It was like, it's a case by case basis, and they didn't give any answer. But I just felt like that wasn't good enough. I just felt like that wasn't a good enough answer. And then at the same time, you didn't even address it or directly. You just put it like that, made it as quiet as could be. And yeah, that was in my opinion, a cowardly move. But maybe that's a strong word, but yeah.
One, I don't think anything should be 70, but on top of that, I don't feel like the Switch quality could justify 70. To me, that's like making PS4 games 70 now. Like some of them 70, just going case by.
It was pretty wild to see because with the other systems, their excuse is a clear excuse. It's a next gen system. Even if you don't like it, you can almost understand it. At least you can understand what's happening here. There's an actual answer to be given here. There is no real answer outside of a bad one where you're just sitting there like it's almost like barbershop or locker room talk where it's just like, nah, man, just keep it real. Keep it 100 right here, right now. You know exactly why you did it. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those things. Where it's like, I can't think of no other reason outside of just taking advantage of the fans because this is the one game you knew you were going to be able to stronghold and basically get away with it for it. Because on this actual show, other games were priced at $60. It was not across the board. This was a very unique thing where it was just like, no, this particular one is 70. And there's no other reason outside of them being aware that that's their hottest card, basically. That's the only thing. It's just the part that stands out to me that I think is bad is this was also a game where as much as people love it, we got to keep it real. It was pushed back, delayed more than once. This is a game that actually was supposed to come out before. Yes, it got delayed for the same reason as everything else, but it was one of the first games. You could probably fact check me on it. It was one of the first games that was delayed into 2023. That was more of a relevant game before everybody else's was. And it's like, if it came out on time and stuff, it probably would have been 60. But because the dust settled a little bit on the $70 price for some other games, they feel like they can do it too. But like I said in an earlier video, I can justify it if your hardware is matching your competition's hardware. you know. But they kind of like, I gotta also use this word. They have the audacity to do that.
Yep.
With coming off of your game, the game that I take shots every now and then in fun. But this is coming off of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet being in the type of state that it was in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And when I look at this stuff, it is very clear, honestly, to be honest. Like, I'll notice stuttering or, like, lag, like, a little bit. Yeah. And it is clearly like, oh, it's the system. Like, I don't know, it's that where you can tell the difference between the game messing up and the system not being able to do it. And this more feels like trying to play a solid running game on an old laptop where it just can't.
Yeah, like can't.
And that's what it feels like playing those.
I just think it's just baffling because when the game comes out, we know for a fact it's 720p handheld, 1080p docked, and 30 frames across the board. I would be shocked if they got this to 60. If somehow they got this to 60 at the same time being 1080p and it still looks exactly the same as Breath of the Wild, if not better. I would be shocked if they were able to do it. But still, it's still on 2017 hardware. Or you can argue okay, you got an OLED screen in the Switch OLED. But that's the OLED. Like even if we didn't like it too much, it's like, okay, they still put something extra in that one. It's like we don't even know what's the extra here. And if you go to their website, it's some of the same stuff was happening where they gave an explanation where they was saying like if you buy it digitally here, you'll have rights to future DLC. And I kind of cringed at that a little bit too, because it's like you're implying that you're gonna have DLC for a game that hasn't even come out yet, when if it didn't come out yet, it should be in the base game by my logic a little bit. Like I feel like it should be.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you have as much time as you still have. I was just kind of cringing at it a little bit. We're in your footage for the other game. I don't want to go too long, even though I don't know if you're going to take 30 minutes, but it's just like,
no.
I just really was just like, just really taken aback about that a little bit. I was more disappointed than anything because I just went on record praising Age of Calamity, what we just got done watching, and like saying I'm hyped for this because this was one of the games where it had one of the earliest release dates, for 2023 that I wanted to play. For you, it's Hogwarts Legacy, so it's like that's now, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna talk about that in a second, but yeah, man. So I'm just disappointed. On top of that, I think the collector's edition was 120. It comes with a little notebook or something. I was just like, man, I don't know. I think that one didn't even come with a statue. I don't know if you peeped that out. Like when they showed,
I did not, but
it don't come with a statue either. You don't get no statue with that. It's 120. You get a booklet. And I think you get a steel book if I go back and look at it. You get a couple like little things here and there. There's no big, like, you know how those other collector's items get you that big toy statue thing? It's like, you don't get that with this game. You don't get that with the collectors of it. But that bad boy 120 for that one. Yeah, $70 game. Now, are you still going to get this at that price?
I mean, Nintendo never puts things on sale. So eventually, but I don't plan on getting it right away. Like I don't think I'm buying it this year, to be honest. But also trade-off is because I still haven't beaten the first one. Like I've always moved on to other games, so like I don't want to buy this one until I have beat the first one. And to be honest, I want to also beat Link's Awakening because I bought that and started it too. So I feel like I don't want to keep buying them if I'm not beating them.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, would you take your time and go back through some of these Zelda games? So for me, I was like, you know what? I might take my time and do what I told my audience in the other game or the Age of Calamity game where I said at the very end, I think I'm going to play, or if you want to go through the chronological order, you want to start with Skyward Sword. I have Skyward Sword And I was just like, you know what? I might actually just want to go back through the timeline and give that some time for a second. You know?
So I started with the DS versions of Legend of Zelda because I grew up. I had a PlayStation. I didn't have a Nintendo, like all of that stuff. So my first like Nintendo. Well, I had a Game Boy Advance, but I got it for Pokemon. So then I had Nintendo DS, and that's when I got into Zelda. So my first one was actually Phantom Hourglass.
Okay.
Which I enjoyed, and everything. So it's like playing these, and I like them. It was just like move on to other games, and then it just happens. And I want to give the first one its time of day and actually beat it.
Okay.
So when that's beaten, I will eventually get Tears of the Kingdom. It's just not gonna happen anytime soon.
I am going to get it at least $60 or less for principal only. I'm taking the same route I took with Callisto Protocol, where I was just like, it's based on principle for a certain thing. You know what I'm saying? That's my stance on it. I don't usually get political with video games. I think it's real weird to do that sometimes. But sometimes it's like, at the same time, I don't want to be taken advantage of. I feel like I'm being taken advantage of when it comes to this. That's a clear... It's the behavior about it more than anything, because I got the money. I go waste... Trust me, I wasted on food alone. I got the money. It's just the principle behind it. It's just the look of it behind it that I don't agree with. And Nintendo's been known for doing like little things here and there. They've been ruining people's lives for like the most weirdest thing, right? Like for all them other ports and stuff. Yep. So it's like, just for principle alone, I gotta get it at least 60. At least. I don't know how. I still want it to be brand new. Somebody's little deal or whatever. However, it at least got to be 60. At the very least. So that's my stance on it. I don't think I'll be waiting forever or the whole generation or nothing like that. I don't think that's gonna happen. Because I think somebody's going to probably do something as early as this Black Friday. I think somebody's going to do something, and I'll jump on it then. But we can probably move on from that. I don't want to bash it because I still think it's going to be a great game. I said this before. The industry is probably going to copy this bad boy. No different than how they've copied Breath of the Wild, the first one. I really do think we're going to start seeing a bunch more clones. I'm going to be a little annoyed at it because you're going to tell which ones are clones. And it's like, be more creative. But the game itself is probably going to be dope. It's probably going to be real dope. It might even still be game of the year. It sounds like Hogwarts Legacy is in that category so far, but we're going to move on from that. Your footage is on the screen. I took 7 minutes from it. So let's talk about this real quick because you wanted to talk about this footage. Tell us this game and everything.
So I mentioned this game before when we were talking about some of the games Epic gave away, and I wanted to give more about it. So this is Gloomhaven and what it looks like video game-wise. So Gloomhaven is a very involved board game, essentially, that takes forever to set up, and then you play with your friends for like a couple hours, and you probably lose at some stuff, and then putting it all away was also a pain. And me and some friends have gone through and done that, like, several times for several sessions.
Okay.
But they've now made it, like, with the video game and everything, which is fine. And it's a good game. It is, and I hate to always say, it's the Dark Souls of, like, this, but basically it's the Dark Souls of RPG. Of strategy games.
Okay.
So the idea is you build, or with friends you play as, like, a bunch of your characters that you want to do, that all have like life goals, and then they can retire after you complete those, and you can create new characters and it unlocks new like classes. Now, the life goals do take a while, and it just depends. Like some of them is like take down 25 elite monsters, while some of them will be like
watch some grinding, basically.
Yeah, like it's gonna be a while before you complete, and you get to retire, like a character and unlock a new one.
Oh, okay.
But besides that, as you do missions, everything, if you notice, is based off of playing cards. So you have a deck of cards, like full cards, and you pick 2 cards each turn. One of them you have to do the top ability, one of them you have to do the bottom ability. And then order is like kind of relatively randomized between you and enemies, like who goes. and you have to go through and like you do your actions and everything. Now, also, at the end when you run out of cards, you have to do what's a long rest, where you basically pick one of the cards that you had and you burn it, so you can't use it for the rest of the encounter, and then the rest of them come back. So like the longer you stay here trying to win, which is what my issue has been playing this, the longer you stay, the harder it gets because you're running out of cards to use until you're fully exhausted and can't do anything. Also, when you go to take damage because your health is really low at the beginning, so like you have 10 health and like an enemy may hit you for like anywhere from like 0 to 4. And if you take health, you can like get rid of cards instead, so you can run out of a deck even faster. This footage that you're seeing is actually my third attempt at the first mission, and I still lost.
So it's on that kind of difficulty. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm playing on like there's different levels of like difficulty that you can pick, surprisingly for a game. Where the book doesn't do that. Well, like or the board game doesn't do that. You just play and you know it's just gonna be tough. To where most people say if you win your first encounter at Gloomhaven, then you're doing something wrong. When you play it, because like you need to really learn how this goes and like really strategize together to win. Playing this on my own though, the issue that gets me with the attacks is there's always a modifier card that you turn up as well that I completely forgot about. And on this game, it's randomized. Like they turn up the modifier card. So you can hit an attack that does like 1 damage and pull up a modifier that says multiply your damage by 2. Or add 1 to your damage or things like that. But then the issue is that sometimes you're like really trying to like end an encounter. So you're like, I'm going to do this move that should take out both of them. And then you pull up a modifier of 0. So you do 0 damage and nothing happens. So that's where I was like losing it and things getting tough. Because it's like, this was like a last ditch. I need this to work. And it didn't work. On top of it. And then after you go through this room and beat everybody, you get the next room where you beat everybody, and there's a third room. That's like at most I can make it to that third room before losing. So I have a different strategy that I'm going to go with, and I know which 2 characters I want to use. Specifically, you can make your party of up to 4, but the more people in your party, the more enemies that are going to be in the encounter. So I would suggest if you do try this game out, start with you need at least 2 people. Start with just a party of 2. Until you can get like accustomed to the game. Now, with that said, the characters that I was using were ones that me and my friends used, so I recognized them already. And I think there's another character that I need to use instead, and just go at this thing with brute force for the first few until I can start unlocking some good stuff. But what's also neat is you can buy stuff in town and everything, and then before you leave town, you run into like a little encounter that can either help you or hurt you, and you have to decide as a group what you want to do. And then on your way to the encounter, you run into something that can either help you or hurt you. And it's story-based. So it's like in town, I think one of the things that I had was like some little kid was being harassed by like a store owner because the kid was caught stealing. And you recognize the kid as somebody who has like helped you in the past, like with getting information and all this other stuff. So you have to decide, do you help him or do you let the guards just take him away? And you get to see what happens. I chose to help the kid, and it was like the guard said they would only release him for money, so we had to give up some of our gold, and you just lose out on money now. And then, like, on the way to a mission, there was one where, like, some dude asked, can we help him, like, move his cart? I helped him move his cart, and it gave me, like, extra energy, like, going into the next mission. So it was a good thing to do. However, this other time when I went to do it, and it said help him move the cart, and I did so, it was a really rough terrain, and we got hurt. So we had to start the encounter with everyone losing 2 health. So it is very, like, do you help or not? Like, sometimes if you help, you get reputation, which gives you more bonuses. Sometimes if you don't help, you lose reputation or you can get hurt. and things like that. So it's very random with like what happened. You got to really decide, do you help people or not. But it's a good game. It's just, it takes a lot of strategy and planning, and just know you will lose a lot.
Okay. There's one thing I wanted to mention because I glanced at my phone for something, and I just realized the game that was a part of that Nintendo Direct. I think it was one of them that you said you liked. E-Train Odyssey Collection. So if you get the port digitally, it's properly priced, but if you tried to get the physical version, apparently it's 90. So,
Wow.
I don't know. I think they're trying to do one of them like limited run kind of things where it's just like it's only a certain amount of them. But
It's so stupid. So dumb.
yeah, so yeah, you might have to come about some coin.
I don't want it that bad.
Yeah, I was kind of confused. Let me read it. So it's if you pre-order the collection version, this is gonna be from Play Asia. That's gonna be the physical one that they're gonna send to you. It is $99.99 regular, but that is if you put in this code that I'm looking at. Basically, it's $85.49, I guess, for that collection, and you get free shipping. How about that, man? Free shipping. At least you get.
But
free
it
shipping.
looks like, but part of that also though does look like it's not.
It's 3 games
like,
in
there's
one.
No, yeah, but it's not the because like I'm looking up something else that says it doesn't have a physical release, so it looks like the one that from Play Asia.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's the one that's being sold in Japan. That's why it's up in price. Whereas over here, you're supposed to only get the digital one.
So maybe it's like that's probably the reason for it because you're importing it. I guess that's crazy.
It was the same thing with there was like a Mask or a Kamen Rider fighting game and all this other stuff where it was only released in Asia. So like the only place you can pretty much get it is Play Asia. So they can up the price a little.
Yeah. So that's a thing. For anybody out there, you know. So yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, so this game that you have right here, what system did you play this on?
Played it on PC. Well, on my laptop.
Okay. Do you know what the current price of it is? Or how old it is?
I can look up the current price, but I know when I got it, it was through.
Is this through Steam or Epic?
Epic. It was one of the free games for Epic.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Epic. Okay.
I think it was like $20.
Okay.
Which I'm gonna be honest is not a bad price considering the board game itself usually costs $150. It's $30. So it's $30 under glue. It's $27.99 currently, 20% off, $35 normally. And it does offer like co-op support. But yeah, the physical game for this thing, which me and my friends went through and got, but it was pretty much like on your best day, like on sale, $150. But like
that's so
the
crazy
board game,
how that...
it's a lot, but it comes with a lot, and like. This board game, if you consistently play, I would say once a week, to try and complete a mission, will probably last you like 3-4 years. Like it is a heavy.
It's so amazing to me how it's such a huge difference in price. But if you getting your money's worth, then hey,
yeah,
you know.
That's what's been nice is the virtual one. It is very much matching the physical. The only thing that's really different is. They have a voice actor that reads the stuff for you, so one of you don't have to read it. Okay. And you just don't have the physical stuff. Like you don't have the map, the miniatures, and all this other stuff. But at the same time, if your friends can't get together like as much, like in person, this is the way to go to be able to play this game virtually because it sets all of it up for you. Like there's most people who play Gloomhaven. I don't know if you've seen these tables. There's like they make tables where you can remove the top and like the game is all set up on the inside of it. And then you can put the top back on like a lid, and then it's like a normal table again. And there's people who set up Gloomhaven under it so they don't have to reset up every single time they play. Because it takes a while to set up and put together or put away everything. So they'll just have it set so as soon as people come over, you just remove the top of the table and boom, you can continue where you left off.
Okay.
But yeah, there's definitely a solid game. It's a good game. This is the new character that I'm going to use. Big Beefy. You get to name your characters.
Big Beefy. Well, I don't pause. I don't know why he's called Big Beefy, but okay.
Because he's muscular.
All right. Amongst other things, I guess. But yeah. Anyways, real quick, I guess I wanted to mention a few things that were technically forgotten last week by me. Like I said earlier, so there was a PlayStation 5 beta that was introduced where it gives you access to Discord voice chat directly on the PS5, and then also the VRR variable rate on the variable on what am I trying to say? The support for 1440p has VRR that they're also beta testing. I'm pretty sure it's similar to how the beta test went for when they first introduced those SSDs that you could put into the system, and some people were beta testing it before they went with their whole software update for everybody to do it. So that's what they're doing right now. I'm pretty sure that's not going to last too long, and then afterwards we'll somehow be able to have Discord directly on there. I wonder how that's going to go, because I think if somebody was on their phone on Discord, they could see a game you're playing if you're on PC. So I'd imagine if you have it automatically set up, it'll have that too. So I wonder. So anybody connected to your Discord gonna know your business basically, unless you. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's a whole appearing offline thing that they probably do.
Yeah.
But
although.
Yeah.
No, that's how it'll work. If anything, though, it should just kind of help with, like, if you want to chat with, like, PC friends. Instead.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I think it's already on the Series X as well. And you probably will have the ability to do, like, some cross play with chat all in one, instead of doing, like, I'm on this or I'm on that, or having, like, a headset. Like, I have a headset where it has two voice channels in one, and a majority of people don't really have that, but here's a workaround because it'll go through the system, instead of just the headset. So there's that, at least. Or some people could just be, a party chat on Discord doing whatever, and then you're the one playing your game at the same time. So yeah, it's cool. That's cool. There also was a gameplay video for the game called The Day Before, which is somewhat of a Last of Us clone, WWZ clone, or World War Z. And I guess we can mention real quick as well, that didn't look so good. That actually...
It looked boring. Like, it just looked so boring. Nothing happened. They ran away from zombie fights. They, like, a few of them happened, but it was, like, a long-distance shot. They, like, were good with a pistol, long-distance shot. I don't know. It looked, at best, by the numbers zombie survival. Like, at best. So, I don't know.
That didn't look so good. It was actually a game where you could tell it was supposed to be a Last of Us kind of thing, but, like, it obviously not connected to Last of Us, but just inspired by it, we'll say. Where the presentation was great before we saw the gameplay. Like, if you was just looking at the trailers and stuff from before, they made it look really good. And then next thing you know, you just pull the curtain back and it's just like a lower texture person just running. And then they see some people and they kind of like, oh, I'm a sidestep and go this way. It's just like, nah. I don't know. They ruined it for me, I guess. They ruined it, but it is what it is. I don't think I would want to play it. It almost looked free to play. I don't know if this is free to play. I forgot. Maybe it is. It looked like it though. So I was pretty much done with it. There was another announcement this past week where the game Wulong Fallen Dynasty, which is another Souls-like, is going to also get a demo that's going to be released on February 24th. And I'm all about these demos because I like to play certain things. That game I'm a little bit more sold on anyway because it's more of a Souls-like. I've already bought a lot of the Souls, From Software clone games already. This would be like one of the only ones I haven't gotten, and it's got like more praise than like a game like Mortal Shell, for example. So I'm probably some of these games you just get on the cheap because they're not number one. You know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to that. Another quick thing, I guess. Well, actually, are you going to play that demo, or are you looking forward to that? Are you at any?
I'll probably check out the demo. Yeah, I'll check it out. I didn't know the demo was coming out, but I'll check it out.
They mentioned it sometime last week. Another quick thing, we got a release date for the Super Mario movie, so that's going to be April 7th, 2023. So that's right around the corner. In theaters everywhere. It looks like it's very, very well produced, at the very least, despite what you might think about the voice acting. I think everybody's okay with the voice acting, but there might be a few people here and there. At least it looks good. It looks very good. Almost wish, some of their games look that good. No shade, it's just a joke. But what if they did? Because the way that Mario looks in that show, in that movie, was like way more detailed and stuff than what we've seen from him in like Mario Rabbids or something, more recently. It's like, that's what you would see if they had the hardware like similar to like Series X and PS5. Like that's the kind of Mario you would see, and like really smooth textures. They would probably have more games at a higher frame rate than anybody else because they all have those like cartoony-ish like art styles, and it's not that hard to animate that compared to trying to be the most realistic looking thing ever, So yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think that's still something I'm probably just gonna like. That almost seems like a Christmas movie. I almost like rope it in with that. It probably ain't, but I rope it in with that because they always do some of those animated Disney films around that time. I might end up watching this on like a Christmas break this year, man. I might watch it there. I don't know. Are you seeing that in theater?
I'm gonna go in April. I'll see it in theater.
You got a group, or you gonna go by yourself?
I haven't decided yet. Like, I don't mind going by myself. I'll go with a group, but like, if I go by myself, I can go at a time when I know like the theater.
Ain't nobody there like at 2 in the morning.
Yeah,
not 2 in the morning, but like on a Tuesday is what I meant to say.
Yeah. Like on a Tuesday at like 11, like ain't nobody gonna be there, and I can like just go.
Man, it depends on how it is and how the weather is. I might tag along with you. We go get burgers like how we did that one time. Why not? I don't know. We'll see. I'm just not too pressed by it. But it's probably all right. There was something else I mentioned last week about Xbox delisting games. I didn't see the full list get delisted, and I know they moonwalked some of the stuff they were saying like it was going to be an error. What I did do though, I did my homework to show that these games are still available not only on Steam but through an emulator called Xenia that you normally can play on PC, but it also, the community works fast. It's also seemingly, in its early stages compatible with the Series S and Series X if you have those systems. So as soon as they delist them on the storefront, you can actually pull them back up at least through emulation on the same system and play it. How cool is that? Like the community is crazy, man. They're crazy. So you'll be able to at least at some point play those same games that they're delisting on the same system if you have it. So that's something to not worry about. Not only that, I believe there's a lot of other systems, like a lot of stuff that we saw from the Nintendo Direct as far as ports could also be played on systems and on PC as well. I'm not trying to advocate for emulation like that. I just feel like if you are primarily on PC or you have a PC, it's like, stop lying. You know what you do. Don't even play. Don't even play. You know you be in this a little bit, especially with the older stuff. Like if you them graphics cards be making some of these games look amazing. Like one of the games that I had looked at ironically was Metroid Prime, like way before this. I even tested it myself. But my PC doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but if you searched Metroid Prime 4K, you'll see people with newer PCs, and they make that game just look amazing. And all they're doing is they have like their graphics card and stuff, and then the PC community already have a texture mod for it, for up-res textures. And I didn't play that one through PC yet, but I did play Super Mario, I believe Sunshine on PC. With the updated textures at 1080p. I had like the 60 frames at 1080p with HD textures. This was on PC. The GameCube emulated version was like the base of it, and then you put all the bells and whistles in it in like the files. Amazing. It looked better than the actual Switch port. Metroid Prime, the PC version, does too. So I employ everyone, please look into emulation a little bit. No, you know what? No, you got to put disclaimers when you say these type of things, right? It don't have to be those games. It could be like stuff that are long delisted, that are like licensed only games stuck on old systems. You could bring a lot of those back up and really make them look nice. Like really make them look nice. But yeah, that was one of them. The whole trilogy looked awesome if you just go look at the PC version of it. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that. I know the Warriors are heading towards my house now, but before they get here, I'm going to mention, because we're at the halfway point, unofficial halfway point. We might go over. We went way over yet last week. But I just wanted to mention our unofficial sponsor. One day they're going to send your boy a check. But until then, they're going to owe me a lot of money by then. But yeah, all fun and games. Epic Games, our favorite sponsor, right? Epic Games, our non-sponsor, I should say. You know, they have a lot of games that you can actually claim when they have them free, and you don't need a credit card. If you've been paying attention, even on this podcast right now, my co-host was playing something that he did not pay for. And he played it legally. He didn't do any of that PC stuff I just told you. He just simply got it. They front the bill simply because he created a profile. And you could do that with a lot of other games. So one of the games was a game I mentioned last week. So you can still download this from now until February 16th as of this recording. That is Recipe for Disaster. That's the game. And then the next one is called War Pips. Sounds funny. So War Pips you have from February 16th to February 23rd in order to download. And also it came to my attention that sometimes they might add a second one, even though I didn't mention it on the podcast. They might add it as a second game to download sometimes. So always check back twice a week sometimes, so you don't miss anything. But yeah, that's the free games from Epic. I also want to mention some sales. I actually did record some sales. I just realized it. So I'll go through some of the ones that I found. The Xbox Series S, the little white one, normally retails at $300, $299. Apparently there was still a few versions that had a special box that was called the holiday. They were basically selling it as the holiday edition, right? There's literally nothing else that's different about it outside of it being like a 2022 box that has like Christmas presents like on the cover. And because it's technically dated, you can go on Amazon and buy this. So this is the holiday console of the Xbox Series S. They're listing these at $239.99. So they marked that bad boy low. That's still a next gen system. That's still a system that you can get for somebody just starting off and they ain't got no money. Maybe they got little money. They on a budget. You know, whatever the case might be. That's pretty low. That's pretty low. That thing still has some power to it. It's not as much, but it has some power. So a brand new system, $239.99 on Amazon. If you are into this game, the game Life is Strange True Colors, apparently the PS5 version is also $11, or it's also on sale on Amazon. I mean, it's $11.98 on Amazon and Game Pass. It's in Game Pass, but it's also, I said that so wrong. It's also $11.98 on GameStop is what I was trying to say. And then if you're on Xbox, it's in Game Pass. So you can get that game for $12 and some tax, you know, if you like that. Persona 5 Strikers, the PS4 game, is $7.98 at GameStop this week. Go check that out while you still can if you haven't got it. Now, here's another thing that I actually found was kind of cool that I looked at. It's on Amazon. They have a N64 encyclopedia, and it also includes the Japanese games and 64 DD games for anybody who ever had that. This is an encyclopedia that's a hardcover book that's 256 pages. It's supposed to have every game ever released on the N64, and that is $35.56 on Amazon. I just thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, there's a couple games here that I was actually going to check out myself just to see what it's about. So I guess I'll mention it. So one of them says it's called Final Vendetta, which is on the Switch, and it is $36.20 on Amazon. I don't know too much about it. I was just going to like look this up later, but the cover looks cool. And then there's a game called Mr. Shifty. I gotta make sure I say that right so it don't sound like a cuss word, but Mr. Shifty
yeah.
is $2.99 on the PlayStation Store and $3.74 on Steam or through Humble, and it also looks kind of cool, so I was going to check that out as well. I think that is everything. So Metroid Prime Remastered was like released right away on the eShop, but the physical version comes out on February 22nd, and I think that is everything under here for as far as sales and stuff. Did you have anything that you might have want to mention, something that's like on your wish list or anything that you got looking at?
Nothing I can think of. I know that if you have EA Plus or the EA Access thing, they just added Madden 23 on there.
I saw that.
Super Bowl. So apologies if you just paid for it, because it was just on sale for like the last month, and then they put it on EA like right after. So there's that. Other than that, nothing really.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I can transition to this real quick because I think this was pretty cool. It was something that caught my eye, and I am definitely going to be following. There's a free-to-play game that came out of nowhere that is coming soon that got announced. It had a trailer, and it was advertised to be under the Unreal Engine 5 engine, basically. And it looks, very, very realistic. This is called Maximum Football. It's literally called Maximum Football, and it is free to play. It's going to be coming soon. I don't know too much about it, but I can imagine at the very least you at least get to play a full football game with this game. So maybe you have to pay for like assets to like, you know, do some Fire Pro Wrestling type stuff with the football players, but at least it's free to play and it's going to be coming soon. I think it's going to be coming this year. The way that
I looked at their website, they didn't say that it's going to be like some live service stuff to keep going. But I mean, live service for a free game makes sense as long as they don't get ridiculous for the live service elements. However, it does look good, and to be honest, as a person who plays Madden, Madden needs competition because they're bad. I've only played the Madden games because they've been free, relatively because I have EA. Man, it's just they're not doing anything new. They keep pretending like it's new. Half of the advertisements for Madden 23 were the exact same wordings that they used for Madden 18. The main thing people want was just like customizing a team or things like that. They just will not bring back, and they really want you to use their I think it's MUT, the form that like basically you buy packs and you pay. And they get more money. That's the thing they put all their effort into. So it'll be nice that it has some competition. So I'm actually excited for this game.
This will be interesting if they if it actually catches on. I think I might make some notes, you know, to like really follow this game and actually showcase it like even in a solo vid at some point. I might actually do that. I don't know. Yeah, quick shout out, I guess I can mention there is also a medieval football game for anybody who just want to have some tongue-in-cheek humor in a football game that came out a few years back. What is the name of that bad boy? You know what I'm talking about. What is that bad boy called?
The monster one?
Yeah. It's a football game where
Mutant Football League.
There you go. Mutant Football League. I think you can play it. It's a knockoff of kind of like Madden because you can actually go through a full season with your with your mutants and stuff. So there's that for anybody who want to get into an alternative right now before this one comes out. But Maximum Football is going to be like completely realistic football, just like Madden, you know. And yeah, it's going to be an alternative, so it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, it's going to be free to play, but hopefully it doesn't shut down too prematurely like some of these other games that we mentioned last week, which is going to lead me into the next one real quick that we can mention, because Knockout City was one of those that was way more popular that abruptly got the announcement that it was going to be shut down in June. But it got some backlash because even though they did that, they also announced a new update that is like a last update. So it's some vampire thing going on. I don't even know what the official name of it, but I know it has something to do with vampires. But they announced that like this past week, even though the week before it was announced that it's going to shut down in June. And if you go to those videos, the comment section is letting them have it. Like, well, why would I even pay into that, or why would I do anything into that when the game in general is shut down in June? So that was kind of strange. I don't think it's going to be like the Twinkie or anything.
Is weird. It should be free. Like, hey, we know we're shutting down, but here's some fun stuff before we go.
Yeah.
Paying is a horrible idea. Like, what?
I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if it's like, maybe you could look it up real quick if that thing is paid or not. I just know it's an update that they added to it. Like, they still was working on it, you know. But what I was gonna say was like, it's not like the Twinkie where it like could come back one day. Maybe I think this is really gonna be shutting down. But yeah, they had a new update this week. And that was in there, I guess.
Oh, yeah, it's just a new update.
It's just an update? Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, some games, they were already going to, like, roll it out anyway, so I guess for the people who are super loyal to it.
Why waste the resource? It seems so odd. It was just, I don't understand.
It was probably already almost done before they decided, like...
Yeah, and so they're just like... Maybe it was, I think you're right on that. Maybe it was already... And they're just like, well, we still have this, so here you go. That's so.
It goes live on February 28th.
Do a patch update or something where it's like available to the people and they can do their own private servers and stuff. You know, there's some way to do it. If the PC community can do that with Super Smash Brothers Melee, like there's got to be a way for these people to do it. Because they took a game that was not online at all in the GameCube era.
No, you still got to do the. All monetization will be removed from Knockout City as of the 9.0 patch on February 28th.
Okay.
Although you'll no longer be able to purchase Holobucks, you'll be earning thousands of Holobucks among other goodies, event contracts throughout the season. So basically, they're removing anything with the money stuff, and they're just like you'll be able to still play to earn stuff. There isn't really a reason to earn stuff because it's all going to go away, but it's for those who really want to play.
There's probably going to be some content creator out there that's just like, I'm going to just milk as much footage as I can real quick for an archive, maybe. So maybe for a streamer.
The private hosted server edition for Knockout City will be available for free as a standalone download for Windows PCs in the coming months. Players will be able to download the separate version of the game to host for their friends or join someone else's server. We'll have more details as we get closer to this. So they are planning on making private servers. It'll just be only on PC.
Okay. Console players, that's it. If you console only, that's it. Apparently. So but at least, I think there will be a PC in the future. Like I want to say maybe, I don't think it's going to be 10. I think it's going to be like 5 years from now. The average laptop is going to be able to play up to PS4 with no problem. I think we're going to get to that point. So yeah, you'll see some of this stuff. And then you'll have the ability to pull some of this stuff up from yesteryear and do things. Cause I know people who, still go back into the Elder Scrolls, not the Elder Scroll Online either, like them old ancient Elder Scrolls, and play like with all the mods and everything to make it as up to date as possible and do all of that. So some of these games, technically nothing never dies. I don't think anything could die on the internet. It will always be there. One Joe Schmo on the corner somewhere is going to always go look at it. I pull up stuff on my phone. I be playing stuff that people ain't never heard of. It would just be stuff that I, played as a kid. Shout out to Value City, Easter egg for some people. But yeah, I guess we can move on. A couple other small things. Did you ever see any of an unboxing video at all for the PlayStation VR 2? Did you see any of that?
Nope. I did not.
I watched the PlayStation official one. I didn't watch any content creator one. Pretty straightforward. They just showed the person take it out the box and like put it on. Honestly, I don't want to put too much shade on the person they got. They should have got somebody else to do that though. That person was like clearly like you know how you got to read a script or something? It was just like you knew for a fact they was reading every last piece for whatever they was saying. It was just like it kind of came off a little like she wasn't that enthusiastic, I guess. Not as much as she could have been to where you could play it off. It was like, no, she clearly she had a teleprompter or something that she had to make sure she said you had to make sure you said it, basically. That's how it sounded. So I was just like, ish. It was kind of cringe too for some of us. Like, here's how you put it on. Here's how you take it back off. Like, what? It's kind of cringe. But it was
kind of happy I didn't watch it then.
It was, yeah. But at the end of the day, it was just literally like, here's the hardware or whatever. So it's crazy because this thing is just kind of rolling out. And I don't hear too many people in the community or publications or anything like hyping this up. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, it's just simply coming out. That's it. It's just simply coming out. There was actually a big stack of games that was supposed to be released alongside the PSVR 2. And I don't hear nobody saying anything about any of them. It's like the Horizon one you know about because it has the Horizon name. But just for the game being by itself, without the Aloy character, I don't hear anybody really going on about it. I don't think it's gonna flop. They're still gonna have their niche of people who really want to, look at it. But yeah, it's just kind of coming out. I don't know. Is that something you looking forward to playing at some point or right away?
Not
too
really.
Rich for your blood.
Like, yeah, it costs too much. Like, I would love to dive into VR, but I feel like that this price you have to be all in for VR.
Yeah,
and
it's like, not really a try and see kind of thing.
And I can't buy something like that expensive and then just not play it for a year. And like with the backlog and having a PC and a Switch, and like there's just too much to do that like I'm gonna feel guilty buying that. Like it's just I'm good.
I wish it was like 300. I wish it was there. That seems like the ceiling for me. I was like, it's weird when it's almost like an accessory to the PS5, but it costs more than the actual PS5 by default.
Crazy. I feel like it's like you have to be. This isn't an accessory to the VR. If you're getting this, you are a VR person getting this. And at this point, if you're a VR person, you're not going to get it for the PS5. You've already got a PC hookup for VR. Like I know a person who's like really into VR, so they have the full like setup from their PC to be doing stuff. Like, they've spent money on like that VR, but that's what they play. Like they're not sitting down and just playing games. They play VR if they're playing a game.
I honestly think VR is going to be like, I think VR is going to be an excellent retro system like 10 to 15 years from now, this VR.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's going to really shine. It's going to remind me of how people treat the GameCube. People look at the GameCube as like the holy grail of like games now, and they're really marked up now. But when it was current, it was like almost an afterthought. Some of those extra games now, they're like all hidden gems and stuff. I think that's how this is going to be later on, because then it'll probably drop down. Like the system itself might drop down like $100 or $200 or something, but then the games are probably going to be marked up just like in GameCube. But I think that's when it's going to get really appreciated by the masses. Right now, it's just niche. Yeah. It's just niche. So yeah, it is what it is on that. Another thing I actually wanted to mention that I don't think we covered that technically was news, I think last week. The PC version of Last of Us Part 1 was actually pushed back like 3 weeks. I think
didn't know that.
Similar to, I think there was another game we was talking about that got pushed back like 3 weeks, but this one got pushed back 3 weeks on PC. So its official release date is now March 28th. I don't know why. I don't know. It's just 3 weeks. I don't know what that would do, but maybe. I don't know. Whatever they felt.
Wait, so what was the original release date?
3 weeks earlier than that. So I think it was like the beginning of March. So they just needed a couple more weeks.
Yeah, I really don't know what a couple more weeks.
It's 3 weeks exactly. So I don't know. Literally 3 weeks exactly. 21 days.
Holding something back for a month for polish is the thing. So I guess 3 weeks of polish? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the thing. Did I mention the Resident Evil movie? I think I did. Did you see that trailer?
I did not. What Resident Evil movie?
Yeah, so there's a Resident Evil animated movie coming out this summer 2023. It's called Resident Evil Dead Island. And there was some people rolling their eyes at it because it's like another Leon story, I guess.
Okay.
But they're using the graphics from some of the later games because they also have Jill in here, and she looks exactly the way she looked from the Resident Evil 3 remake. So I think that's the style that they're going with. So I think this is more recently animated, and it's just some film, and apparently this is going to be, I think this is true, this is the first time Leon and Jill were like together at the same time within the Resident Evil universe. Typically in the games, you play it as one person or another, and like somebody was like on the back burner. Just like when we played 5, Leon was not there, but he was in 6, right? I think this is the first time that they're like working together next to each other, along with some other characters in there. I think Chris is in there too. So yeah, we're gonna see the whole gang, man. They might put them together and make a whole Resident Evil Power Ranger gang. We might see that, you know. But yeah, so that's summer 2023. That I do want to watch almost immediately. I'm hoping, I don't know if I want to see that in theaters. I just know I want to see that. I hope it's going to be on like one of the streaming sites. That way I can get my hands on it early. So I do want to see that right away. Not waiting for no Halloween or anything. Because I'm a big fan of Resident Evil. I guess we could talk about a bigger topic. That might be, is it a bigger topic? Yeah, it's a bigger topic. So, Hogwarts Legacy. So the reviews have already been in. And apparently, you know, the boycotts didn't work as much as they, you know, wanted it to work. The people who are opposing this.
Oh, there, man.
So yeah, they found a new way to backlash, and people have been doing this. But one of the main publications that did it. So what I mean by backlash is that they're just decided, hey, we're just gonna spoil the game for you. That's how we're gonna do it. I guess Kotaku is one of the places that are notorious for other stuff.
They've been trash. Like I talked about them last year in one of the podcasts where they tried to say Stray was cultural appropriation because the robots wore straw hats. It was the dumbest thing. Where it was like, if you play the game, you realize these sentient robots had to just learn like what it meant to be a person on their own. Because that's what they're like. So they would just read books, and based off of where they are, the depictions they saw was like of early Asia with like straw hats and stuff. So they're like, okay, we'll incorporate that in our look. Like that's what they learned of human and everything. And they're over here like, yeah, that's racist. And it's just like, shut up. Like Kotaku is trash.
I just remembered
they're trash.
I know it might sound ironic coming from me. I remember being a little turned off by them like making reports and telling everybody that Metroid Dread was already fully playable on PC. I think they said that like the day that it came out or the day before. Even though I like have my things that I emulate, I just thought that was kind of foul in a way. Because you're supposed to be like a professional publication, like, and you telling people that, like Joe Schmo in a little podcast like this saying something to his little audience is one thing, but a professional publication that people quote sometime, you know, and fact check or not fact check, but like, you know, use as a source, all of a sudden it's saying that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You know? And so they did that. And so I guess they themselves post spoilers. There was a couple other places that did it. I think the place called Wired Reviews, I think that's what it was called. I guess they gave the game a 1 out of 10, and it was for everything else that everybody else was giving it bad scores for, I guess. It was basically for like, you know, the agenda. It had nothing to do with the like actually grading the game objectively. Basically, nobody was grading this objectively, obviously. So that was another thing. But yeah, people just posting spoilers. I haven't seen the actual spoilers themselves. I've avoided the game largely for a while. I've watched gameplay officially and seen what certain places like IGN says stuff like towards the end of their videos.
Yeah.
So there's that. Yeah. Go ahead.
watch some gameplay, just to like the IGN gameplay stuff, just to see what it would look like. And I saw another person's gameplay. Who was it? GamerX.
Okay.
I watched them too, and like once I heard like everything's like solid. There's no glitchy. Like they said that there was like an occasional like NPC, like one of the like funny looking glitches.
Good. Yeah.
But like nothing game breaking at all. So I'm like, all right. So I went ahead and got it. So of course I'll have thoughts and stuff, everything next week.
Okay.
However, yeah, I like logged onto some social media and instantly somebody posted a spoiler. Now it was a spoiler that I have already assumed would happen.
Okay.
Like I would have been more surprised. I'm not going to spoil anything. Being a person that's really into storytelling, and you start to see tropes, and you can kind of call certain things out and know what's going to happen. Like I like it. It just sometimes sucks when you're watching something. You're like, duh, this is going to happen. But that's what this little spoiler was something that I was like, well, of course that was the thing that was going to happen. It just sucks that now it's confirmed. But it's what really got me to like, I'm kind of done with social media if this is how people want to act. Like, if you really want to be this petty over something so inconsequential and be so hurt over nothing that you just want to do this, it's like, okay, well, I'm done with you. So I'll be enjoying this game. I can't wait.
I can mention real quick, I actually still haven't seen the Spider-Man movie, the Marvel Spider-Man, I guess, or the MCU Spider-Man movie that was called No Way Home. Yeah. And
you say that like most people don't know what that is. The last Spider-Man.
The last one, yeah. It's so many of them now, I guess. But it was alluded. I mean, technically you could have used common sense, but I mean, I don't even have to say it. I'm not going to say it. It's because it technically was a spoiler. But I'm pretty sure everybody listening to this has still watched it and I didn't watch it. But if you looked at the trailer and you use common sense, you know a big thing that was going to happen. But basically,
why are you saying it like it's a secret?
I know comicbook.com basically immediately that Monday gave it away. Like it came out the weekend before and they immediately gave it away, and then they spammed it constantly, was making articles and stuff about this movie. And
well, something that bothers me between them and people that I know from like social media, there was somebody who really wanted to spoil
somebody you know personally,
some
right?
movie. Yeah, they really wanted to spoil some movie because they're like, we need to talk about it and I gotta say this. Oh man. And he decided to go ahead, and I had seen the movie, so I just wanted to see what he had to say. Yeah. He had posted the spoiler, right? Even though that everybody was like, don't spoil the movie yet. Yeah. But like posted the spoiler to say his thing he had to say, and 0 people like commented or reacted to it. And it was like, well, I'm so happy that you were able to get it off your chest.
Yeah.
But more than likely, all you have done is ruined it for somebody.
Yeah, because people still scroll and see
nobody commented. There was nobody got in the comments to talk about it. There wasn't people who got to share. Because that was another thing, when you post spoilers and things, part of it is like, dude, I really want to talk about this with somebody because it was so amazing. The fact that no one responded meant nobody wanted to talk to you about it. So it's like, oh, congratulations. You got to say what you want. Like, you could just hold it. Like, there's several movies I just go to see, and I can't talk about them because I don't want to ruin it for people, so I just don't talk about it. I got to see it. It was fun. If I really need to talk about it that bad, I could specifically search it on Reddit. And there's like threads for it where I would like, it's not a spoiler because you would have to click into the thread to see the spoiler. Like it'll be just called, let's talk about blah movie. So if you don't want no spoilers, don't click on that. And then boom, I got a whole community I can interact with and talk to it about without having to ruin it for somebody else.
Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that just for, I guess, the way something got spoiled for me as far as Spider-Man, which was common sense, I know, but I spare you the details. But going back into Hogwarts, eventually, so in about maybe 2 or 3 more weeks, this is going to be completely over with, and then we'll finally have to, dead this, I guess, but it was just such a crazy thing to see overall. like everybody's stance on that. But to go as far as trying to spoil the game was so silly. Because at the same time, I feel like isn't so I'm still looking from the outside in, but wasn't the whole notion that this takes place like 100 years before the actual canon movies? Isn't that
from my understanding? Yes, but I didn't want to look it up because then it's just going to start talking about the plot. But from my understanding, yes, it takes place before the movies.
But let's say it's only a few years before, like it's before Harry Potter period. If you're playing this game though, weren't you spoiled on the end of the series anyway? Like it's kind of it was just kind of strange that like I'm just saying like I don't understand the intent of doing that if everybody already seen the movies.
Oh yeah, no. The point being like if this takes place 100 to like 200 years before,
yeah,
right? Yeah. A lot of characters could like naturally just like pass away, or things can be inconsequential to the series relatively. Okay. That they're spoiling, so you get to like, oh, haha, like I guess your game is ruined. But at the same, yeah,
you still use a created character though, right? Like,
yeah, and you still kind of know where things go. I don't know. It's just you're not ruining my fun with it. I'm gonna enjoy it.
I saw some cool things though. I saw some people, posting this screenshot of the characters that they made. Not to give away our location, but there's a thing called buffs, which is glasses, but we call it buffs.
that just gave away our full location.
Yeah, that gave away our full location. We're deep in this podcast, but yeah, maybe someday somebody gonna figure it out. Hopefully I get paid by the end, so it won't even matter. But yeah, I saw, I don't, maybe it was only trending here, but I saw that, and that kind of was cool to be. It was like, yeah.
The fact that they took care with hairstyles, right? Like,
yeah.
There's a lot of nice looking black hairstyles and things like that. And just everything that you could do looks great. I don't know. It looks cool. What about the things that I like? So anybody who had a Pottermore account, which is when the game first came out, or when the movies and everything were out, the books and everything. Basically, you get to see you answer a questionnaire sort of thing. And you get to see what house you're sorted into instead of just picking. So most people, if you talk to a Potter nerd and they're always saying, I'm this house, like I'm Gryffindor, I'm Slytherin, they didn't just pick. They took a test to see which one they were in. They're not just picking it to pick it. And like I was given my own Patronus, for those that knows what that is in the game and movies. And I got a wand and everything that was assigned to me. And wands are specific to like personalities. It's like the wand chooses the person. Is what they say. And it's crazy how, it's those things where like you read it and it really does describe parts of your personality and you're like, that's weird. No, it does that. It does describe parts of my personality, but the new website is now called Wizarding World. So it's like separate. However, it understands you have a Pottermore account if you use the same login, and it'll transfer your profile over for you. What you want to do if you're going to play this game, because you can link the game to your Wizarding World account, so it'll sort you into that house and give you that wand that you have, like that it was like earned in the game, or like through the website. So it's like even more of taking yourself and throwing it into the game.
So I wonder if that. I was gonna say, I wonder if that was like one of the reasons why. I saw that it was saying that it was internet required or something like that.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned that before last week, that it was required that you have to be on the internet. I know there was an explanation that I read that there's supposed to be a day one patch. I wonder if that addressed like the one issue that I did see where somebody was saying if you go to open a door, it like pauses for a second, where like it's not even that he's like struggling to open the door or anything, it just pauses because it's technically a loading screen on the other side and it doesn't look seamless. And so that's like a gripe that people might have, because it just doesn't look right. And then once you open the door,
because all I saw was like day one patch and people were like, yo, you need to download this now, like is what people were saying, like this is an important patch, which some people were surprised. they're like a day one patch. The game's already been out, and I was like, yeah, that was called early access.
Yeah.
Like it was weird. People were treating it like, why'd they wait till Friday to release the day one patch? That's like that's day one. That was day one. But
yeah, so people who had the deluxe version got it like 3 or 4 days earlier, something like that. But
people need also because you brought it up before. It's like stop bullying people. People were getting bullied on Twitch for
I don't follow that girl's channel, but I have seen her content before. I think it's more aimed towards girls, technically girls with boyfriends, right?
Well,
she was getting bullied. Right, so. Yeah, she was getting bullied or something. And there was a few other people like that as well. But I think hers was worse because I think they said, I didn't see it, but they said that they made her cry, or maybe she sounded teary-eyed. I don't know if she was on camera or not, but yeah.
Footage went through. She did, she cried. And they were all, the proceeds that they were doing before even, streaming or anybody attacked them, they were already saying they were putting some of the proceeds to, organizations that help that community. And they attacked her heavy. And, at this point, too, I don't even necessarily think it's just that people. I think it's just trolls picking up on it.
There probably was a few of them like that.
So there's that, but it's just don't bully.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, turn it off. If it's fine for everybody.
You know, it's
else.
funny too, though. I know I'm gonna catch that wind eventually, but I'm a whole nother beast. I'm gonna warn some people right now. I'm new on YouTube. I am not new to this internet. I ain't new to this internet at all. So I'll be more respectable because of the platform and how they treat. Because my responses was going to get me in trouble, if anything.
Oh yeah.
Because some of these other channels out there that I've seen, that got their channels taken away. So I've been a nice, channel so far. But I have some energy. I'll just put it that way. So
and I'll hold mine back too. But
I have some energy. I'm known for this in real time, right now, in other platforms. I'm known for this. It'd be a different story if you come here, but we're not going to invite that type of energy. We're a family friendly show. Excited. Shout out to the families and the friends.
I'm excited to play the game. You'll have a review from me. First impressions.
Don't say review because I think it's 60 plus hours. I think. Yeah.
I am taking about full time with this, and not even moving slow. Just I want to thoroughly enjoy this game, really live it up and everything. I ain't rushing through nothing.
Side missions and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. First impressions. Side mission. I might give it a second playthrough where I try and go full evil wizard, but. We'll see.
So yeah, it got some infamous kind of stuff, right? And then you could be completely bad or you could be completely good. I remember people were saying that.
So, yep. And my normal playthrough, I just want to be what I would do personally.
Okay.
On everything, which typically probably going to be the good route of stuff, which I would do. And then I really want to go full dark arts, but I want to start as the Hufflepuff. So it's I want to be the really, really nice group. That is all super friendly and Disney, and then that's the one I want to turn evil.
So I got a question for you. Do you think it's a missed opportunity that there isn't a multiplayer in this, or do you think they're going to add it later on?
I think it's a missed opportunity if there was something that could have perfected it. I think it would have been messed up if it was messed up on release. This is where I mentioned before where I said I'm excited for the second one because they just need to add multiplayer, another solid story, maybe continue depending on this game. If this game is only your 5th year, because I don't know, you're a 5th year student. So if it's only your 5th year, then the next game should be year 6, and things like that. But they need to add Quidditch. That's what they need, and that'll take over for the game. That's their sports game where they're on the brooms and all that stuff. But that could be the multiplayer part where you could either play it in game or you could go online and be a part of a team and do stuff like that and have a team try and rise through ranks and everything. But Quidditch is what they name. They could even do something multiplayer wise where whatever house you are, they pair you with those people of that house online, and then you're just adding points, and then like they could do something with like a full on online leaderboard for like which house is winning, based off of the games of Quidditch. So
is this like a gang territory type thing, or what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Kinda. This... So Quidditch is their like sports game where it's basically like dodgeball and soccer. And
but you was making it sound like Crips and Bloods for a second. I was like, wait.
Each house competes, and the houses have points, like house points.
Okay, so it's like basketball.
They easily, like, yeah, so it could be like, basketball would be like 4 houses, right? So there's 4 houses, and then like there's like rewards for the kids of that house if like they win in the end, and they get in the series they get points for random stuff. So like with Quidditch, if you focus it on that for an online thing, it could be like, if you're a Gryffindor person, then you play online and you get paired up with other Gryffindor people to take on either Hufflepuff, Slytherin, or Ravenclaw, or whatever. And then the winners of that, points get added to the overall leaderboard for that house and everything. And then, like, a winner gets announced or something like that. Where you get, I don't know, they like doing the digital art stuff now through the PlayStation Stars. So it could just be the winners. Like Gryffindor won after the first season, and like they get all like a little digital like little art piece from the PlayStation Stars, like something like that. But like that's all they need to do for like an online thing for a leaderboard is just add Quidditch to it.
Okay. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing I guess the footage for next week. Hopefully it's not too spoilery. I don't know. I just imagine it was, you play your created character and it might mirror some of the stuff from the movies or something, I guess. I don't know. But
yeah, it shouldn't be too spoilery because it should still be the beginning of the game, at least.
So that should be cool. All right, I guess we can move forward. There's a couple of like quick things we can mention real quick. One thing, there's a game here that I've been following technically a little loosely, but I'm following the AEW Fight Forever game. Now, apparently, this has a release date that looks more like a placeholder date. Whenever we see a release date like this, it's usually a placeholder, but it's set for December 31st, 2023. It might come out this year, I'm not sure, but it's listing as of right now last gen and current gen at $60, depending on which version you get. And so it should be fully multi-plat except for probably the Switch. I didn't think I saw anything for the Switch, but everywhere else this game is supposed to be on there. There was some goofy stuff that I was seeing with it where it was like you throw Molotovs at people while you in the ring, I guess. I don't know. But I saw the screenshot of that and I'm like, all right. And then there's supposed to be like an arcadey kind of thing to it as well in some cases. It does look like there's a large part of it that kind of looks like the WWE game, but I'm more interested in this because it's still it's literally built from the ground up. It's like you can actually say this one is. So I'm more interested in it. I don't know too much else about it yet outside of what was just shown before, which was just like some trailer footage. The earliest footage looked like some like more Play-Doh looking characters. They kind of smoothed them out a little bit more now. But this is coming sooner than later is basically what I'm getting at. So I'm looking forward into this one because I kind of almost wiped my hands with the WWE one, but I'm looking back forward to this one. I'm actually gonna go ahead in the next few weeks and wipe my Fire Pro Wrestling clean and re-download all the created characters and sort them out correctly because I've like added everybody to it at the same time, and so it's extremely hard to sort. And then I thought about it recently. I was like, why don't you only add like one era at a time and do it and then go back after you sorted that, so it's so easy because you can grab all the people and check mark them and move them onto this list. And it's a whole bunch of that. Like it take a while to do Fire Pro, but once you really get it, then you have like a full Fire Pro Wrestling like roster from all the eras, all the people, all the band of people, all of them people. And so yeah, I'm gonna do that. But as far as like Fight Forever, I'm pretty sure it's just simply AEW. People like CM Punk is up in the air. I don't even know if they're gonna still be there or not. The people who be flipping flopping, but Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. You looking forward to it?
It should be a good game. I am looking forward to it. I want to see more of it, of course, and things like that.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice slight change of pace for like those who do miss the arcadey sort of stuff, and I'm just interested to see where it goes. So it looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I guess also I didn't have any footage for this podcast, even though we've had footage in the past, but let's talk about Division 2 real quick.
Okay.
What's going on with Division?
A series of tweets that ended up happening, and I felt so bad for them. So first, they said in preparation of season 11, where they're going to be releasing some stuff, they experienced some series of delays in their localization process. Impacted the game for many people. So after much discussion, they decided to move the release of season 11 to a later date. And they said they understand that the update is hard for the community here, so they planned on extending the season 10 stuff, which apparently they've done before. They extend the season for like if they need to like release later. But then later they said last week they had shared news about the delayed due to localization issue, and then last week Saturday, in the process of creating the update which would resolve the issue, they ended up accidentally doing something that pretty much blocked them out of the game. And they were like, they can't update the game until the system has been rebuilt. So they like broke the system for creating the game. And because it locked them out, they also couldn't extend the season 10 stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So like somebody did something that just broke everything. And they couldn't do anything for the game. But then
somebody got fired.
Yeah, very soon after, they were able to get back in, and they've extended the season 10 stuff. And they said more news about season 11, and in-game compensation will be shared at a later date. So they're going to give people some stuff. You'd be like, sorry, we can't release the season 11 stuff. But yeah, somebody probably got fired for breaking everything.
I got a question. Is that just online stuff, or are they still doing DLCs? Are they still doing DLC?
It's all the online stuff.
Okay, because I was about to say, like, we were just almost finished. Did they go do another DLC live?
No, it's those, remember those, like, toxic zones that we didn't go through?
Yeah.
Because we realized, I think it's those. They add, like, more, like, hunts and everything for the toxic zones with more gear and everything.
It does look like that game has a healthy community, because we be seeing all type of, like, weird names showing up. They just be standing around, some of them running towards you and everything in the lobby rooms and stuff. And then there's the distress signal, we can call for them, and sometimes we had to. So yeah. All right, because I think you showed me something earlier, and I glanced at it. I was like, there's no way they're about to do more DLC when we were just about to finish.
No, that was what it was. It was their little live service part that they've been doing.
Okay.
It broke everything.
Because I know we were going to jump to one of the Borderlands, right? And then from there, jump back to, I think, Destiny. Is that the one we said? And then,
especially now that they've just released the Beyond Light part, too.
Yeah, and that's probably going to last a really long time. And then Borderlands 3, and then I'm pretty sure there's going to be some other stuff in between. And then there's the Evil West that we were looking at. There was some of the jank games that we bought recently. So we got some co-ops. Shout out to a channel I've been watching called the Co-op Bros, who's really put me on to a lot of stuff. I watch their stuff, and it gives me ideas for stuff for us to play, like once we're done with the podcast and stuff. So shout out to them, because I grabbed a few things from them. Yeah, so at least there's no more DLC for Division. Maybe that sounds bad, but it's like I'm ready to move on from it. We still got to finish the New York stuff, and then afterwards, I guess we will be done with it. I don't know. But yeah, and then so I got some more stuff for you real quick, I guess, video game wise, before we move to some of the other stuff. So Jedi Survival, let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah. So I saw some gameplay footage. They showed like 9 minutes of Jedi Survivor.
Okay.
It looks great. it's a sequel, and I think something that helps with this one being a sequel is if you've played Fallen Order, you know that your character, he's not like overpowered, right? His Jedi
Mm-hmm.
powers are your normal telekinesis, and he can like see like things that happened in the past. Um, but past that, like he's just a normal like fighter and everything. So it helps that for the sequel, he can have all his powers and everything because he wasn't overpowered to begin with. And basically, it's like years later, and you're just out there trying to survive.
Right.
Had the
So it ain't
name.
gonna be like the
Uh,
Force Unleashed, basically,
no, it's not.
or Force Unleashed 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks good. You got your lightsaber, your double lightsaber. You're just going through fighting. The person that they had playing the gameplay footage
Okay.
wasn't great at the game. Like they was just dying. Like you can see them getting hit, and then the screen would like cut and skip some, so you can tell they died. They were just getting hit. They were not dodging correctly and parrying or any of that. So, like for a game that was so focused on parrying and dodging, they weren't doing it. But overall, it still looks solid. They didn't really spoil anything from the story, so I don't fully know
Okay.
what's going on. I believe the game takes place for those who like are into Star Wars and watch the series. I think this one takes place around the same time as the TV series Obi-Wan Kenobi. Uh,
I gotta ask your opinion on something about it.
okay.
Every other random website that, like, there was a couple times I would look up Souls like games, which is basically games that are like not from software, right?
Right.
Every other website would list Jedi Fallen Order as a Souls game. Would you agree with that being a Souls game?
I would say yes, but lightly.
Okay.
Lightly. This is like there's better like Souls like games in terms of being like this is more like a Dark Souls. Where this game is a Dark Souls game is I think people were using it in terms of like the importance of dodging and parrying, where you can't just run out there and just swing away, like you
Okay.
were going to lose.
But he don't drink no
Oh
potion though. Like he don't like there's no like you know how in Souls games like you step
yeah,
back for a second and you drink something real quick and you just
yeah,
step
no.
back for it. It's like
Uh,
yeah, that's not
you don't
there.
have that, but I think the other thing of where they compare it to Souls likes
Uh-huh.
is there's spots where you can like meditate, which is like your checkpoints. But if you
Yeah.
do that, enemies respawn from previous area,
Okay. Okay.
like
All
in
right.
Dark Souls. So that was where it was. So it's like you have to really think like, do you really want to use this checkpoint to get your
Mm-hmm.
health back? But like then everybody's gonna come back, or you could like not do it. Oh, and he doesn't drink something, but your little robot will
Mm-hmm.
like give you a shot, like it'll inject you
Oh,
and your
okay.
health coming back.
I
And then
see.
you have
Cause
to parry, you have to dodge correctly. You can't just like swing, swing, swing. You gotta like take your time and like see things that are about to happen. Like,
right.
yeah,
Okay, then I can see that then, because that's
uh,
actually a game that I own the first one, but I haven't played it. That's like another extended backlog. It's not one that I've started
uh,
yet. But yeah. So
uh,
more people is excited about the sequel, and I'm like, well, I gotta go do the first one real quick. But
yeah. I will
yeah.
say in terms of like revisiting stuff too, because they do hype that up where you can like come back and revisit
Hmm.
areas. Sometimes you have to. Most times you just should. I will say for when you play it, and for anyone who hasn't played the first one yet, uh, it's like this part spoil you. You can get a double sided lightsaber. There's a
Okay.
part where it'll happen in the story naturally if you want to wait, but you still have to go back and like seek that part out. Or you can kind of get it right away. But if you look up the directions for getting it right away, which because you as soon as you can go to a specific planet, you can go get it. However, don't try to fight. Just run. Everything will be vastly, vastly stronger than you to the point where your hits ain't gonna really do anything.
Okay.
And just run. Run straight through until you can get to the bench and you get your double sided and then run right back out of there and continue the mission.
Okay. So do they have it
But yeah,
set up in there where it's like the actual lightsaber two is also more powerful, or is it just like a preference thing?
it's I wouldn't say it is more powerful.
Okay.
Not in terms of the damage output ish, but like in terms of what you can do. So like
Okay.
with the one lightsaber, you can swing everything like that. when you have a double-sided, you can swing with both hands, so your damage is like twice as fast. You can connect them together to get the staff, which is way better if you're being surrounded, because the way you swing it, it'll hit like all around you and everything. So it's good for like if you're getting like swarmed. I think the double-ended lightsaber is better for blocking, whereas the single ones are better for like when you hold them in separate hands. It's better for parrying.
Okay.
Because you can like block it with one hand and hit with the other. So it almost like it makes the parrying feel easier versus when you put them together. It makes just blocking in general feel easier. So like there is reasons you just switch back and forth between using it in the fight, whether you keep it together or solo. If you watch the 9 minutes from the second game, even in there, it goes back and forth between like combining them as a staff like Darth Maul or keeping them separate. Okay. So
yeah, I saw that they released that, but I chose not to watch simply because I didn't play the first game yet, and I just wanted to, like, I'm kind of already sold on it because I still bought the first game, so that's why I didn't watch yet.
To watch it, it does not spoil anything from the first game.
Okay.
Other than the fact that you have a double lightsaber, which I think everybody knew. But other than that, it doesn't spoil anything. Yeah, it doesn't. They're very careful, like, because I don't even know where the story is going with this. You're just out there and you fight a couple things, like that's it.
Okay. Well, we are technically in overtime, so hit the like button. It shouldn't take too much longer, but it's going to take a little bit longer. Hit the like button, subscribe, share it out. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah.
Let me run through real quick because I can make these really fast.
Okay.
Tekken 8 also had some footage out. And they revealed Nina, as well as some of the gameplay. The combat still looks fairly similar to previous Tekken games, just a little bit sharper. But it looks good. Like, it wasn't a bad system, so stick with it. But the game still looks great. Graphics look wonderful. EA is moving forward with their Iron Man game. It's finally starting production, even though it was announced last September. It started like last week. So they're making it. It's going to be single player focused. And their aim is to make it similar to the Rocksteady Arkham games. So it's going to probably be a while before it comes out, but that's where their focus is to be more like a Batman Arkham game. So they're really focusing on single player. But that is everything I had in terms of gaming.
There's actually more gaming that I had that I actually wrote on here for the next week's podcast that I actually can just say right now because I don't even know why I wrote it there. But there's one thing. There's a game called Wild Hearts that showed a trailer this past week, but its release is supposed to be for February 17th. It was a game that looks like a hack and slash kind of game. I thought it looked good. I think I showed that to you. It's going to be fully co-op as well. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why I put that for 36 instead of now, but I would just say it now. And then there was something that I've just now realized that I didn't write down for this week, even though it was mentioned for last week, but I didn't say it. I wrote it down last week, didn't say it. And I just realized I didn't write it here. But, so coming off of Tekken, Street Fighter 6 is its rival right now, technically. There was something that I thought was interesting because we just got done talking about wrestling, AEW and stuff. The wrestler formerly known as Zelina Vega, I'm pretty sure you're familiar. She's actually going to be in Street Fighter 6.
That's what's up. So she wrestles in a lot of Street Fighter cosplays. So that's what's up. Like even in Royal Rumble, she came out as a Street Fighter character. And she's done that several times. Like she is a heavy cosplayer and into it. So that's what's up.
So she's going to be in the game as commentary, and I think you might either be able to unlock something for her, or maybe there might be some DLC going forward. Because I saw some sort of costume or something somebody was showing, but I do know it's confirmed that she's doing commentary. There's a trailer for it. I'm not gonna lie to you, it did kind of come off a little cringy, the stuff that they were trying to make her say, have her sound. It's not nowhere near the same as like, I don't know what they were going with the commentary, but it's not like ESPN or wrestling or anything. It's like she was just like, yeah, great move. Oh my God. It was like that. And I was just like, but at least she's in it. She's going to be officially in the game, with commentary. So I just wanted to mention that. Last probably game update that we have here is one of the things that you mentioned that apparently there's an Iron Man game that's starting production. You want to tell us about it?
No, I just talked about it.
Oh, you did? My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm dumb. I just didn't listen. But is that multiplayer? My bad. I didn't even hear it. It's multiplayer, right? I would imagine.
It might be. It's just that they started production. Okay. They're making it similar. Like the plan is to be like the Batman Arkham games in style of terms of detail. Okay. And it's a full single player game.
We might not see that for a while.
That was the reason why they said we won't see it for a while, because of that. It was announced last year. It started production last week, and they're going the Arkham route. So it's going to be out in like.
It's going to be from Square Enix.
Years. Yeah. Like, nah, don't wish that.
Don't wish that. All right, we could transition slightly into like some of the movie stuff. There was one other thing that I saw that I put for 36 that I could also say now. Apparently, I think it is confirmed that it's supposed to be a God of War TV show as well. And we've seen people say like they wanted random people to play as him or whatever.
Christopher Judge wants to do it. Some people said Batista, and then Christopher Judge started making jokes about it, saying like, haha, like, be real. And then went backtrack and had to say Batista's a great actor.
I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, but I'm kind of iffy on it because there's one thing that they said that I didn't like, which was that they're actually skipping all the way to 2018. That's supposed to be the start. And so I
don't like that.
Yeah.
However, I can see if they like, which probably the plan is, whenever like people are talking about Kratos and he has to talk about his past, is probably going to flash back to it instead of just him saying it.
That might be a good way to do it. It just seems like they're cutting out like a lot almost to me.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they would flash back like a full thing with Zeus, because that was going. But maybe they might want to sum it up. But hey, I'm still gonna watch. I'm watching, Last of Us. We're gonna talk about it in just a second. But yeah, I just thought it was a little disappointing to hear that. I'm not writing it off though. I don't know. I could imagine it might be with HBO as well. I don't know. I don't know if they got like a deal.
That's what I heard. I heard it was with HBO.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of like the superhero stuff real quick, did you finally see Black Panther? You wanted to talk about it real quick?
I finally saw Wakanda Forever.
Right.
It's on Disney Plus for anybody that wants to go see it.
Okay.
Then I thought it was a solid movie. It was fine. It was my dumb issue with it that I saw that I paid attention to. So Angela Bassett, who's in the movie, she actually there's scenes with like natural hair, just natural white hair, and I've never seen her with her natural hair out. So it got me pretty much paying attention to the hairstyles in the movie. Now, of course, a lot of the soldier like women, they're all bald, right? So the main person who has like hairstyles will be Shuri, the sister, right? My thing is so of course she's a main character for this movie, and a lot of times in between scenes, like different like locations, everything, she'll have a different hairstyle and everything. Which one, I'm like, cool, highlighting different black hairstyles. Here's my thing though. If we think about it, from one scene to the next, like she had her short hair, and then all of a sudden she had kind of like a braids sort of thing, which means during something that was like really important, she still took the time to get
her hair braided, get laid.
Get like hair extensions and get her hair braided. I'm like, and I've seen this process, It is
Oh
not
yeah.
a short process.
Oh no, of
So
course.
like,
But
it's
they
like
got vibranium though.
So then what does that got to do with your hair? So they were spending like 4 or 5 hours.
They got technology. They got some
So you think if
know.
here's the other thing. You would think, okay, maybe she did build technology to do her hair,
Yeah.
but at the same time, because so many of them just cut their hair, that seems like a waste of time to use your resources to build that, right? Because they either cut their hair or cover their hair. So kind of, unless she's just using it privately for her own hair, but if not, then someone had to do her hair, and that's hours on end of doing the hair when they could have been like moving plans ahead. That was my only thought when I saw it. I was like, that's a
I just want to mention. I want to mention for the record, my co-host's views on black women hair is his views and not mine. Y'all ain't got to cancel
me.
Me.
All I said it was beautiful hair. It was just weird that it changed so many times between like pretty much every location that Shuri was in. Her hairstyle was different, except for one major part of the movie that I won't spoil. Okay. But like in every other part, in traveling to different locations, even if it was like one part of Wakanda to the next part of Wakanda, her hairstyle was different. So it was
She's styling and profiling. She got to hit the scene, you know. This is Queen Bayer. This Queen Bee. She got to hit the scene.
But other than that, I thought it was a solid movie. Parts of it I liked a lot more than the first one, personally. I thought the plot was very interesting to follow. It was just good. It was good. I liked it.
For anybody wondering, I haven't seen it yet. Along with the Spider-Man movie, I'm one of those Endgame was really Endgame people. So I might get to it eventually, but as of right now, Endgame is Endgame. So I've actually not seen a lot.
So you just done.
But I did see like I think 3 or 4 episodes into WandaVision, and I kind of just stopped. So I technically did see at least. You gotta keep
pushing through. Push through.
That's about as much as I saw.
You gotta push through. 3 episodes doesn't.
Yeah, I just kind of.
It picks up after, like you. Not even like it's a one that like, it's good once you evaluate the whole. So when you get the right mindset to go through it, like I would say, power through.
I was, technically with the whole watch Marvel in its chronological order, even though some stuff still follow its own little timeline, I was just following it as far as like releases by year. And I know there's that, the Winter Soldier, the Loki thing, a bunch of other movies, Shang-Chi, Eternals. I haven't seen any of it. So I just, I was just kind of not burnt out. I was just kind of felt like I was satisfied where Endgame was. And then the biggest one since then was the Spider-Man one. And for that to get constantly spoiled and I knew everything else was less than, I was just like, well, eh. So I'm trying to wait until everything is more forgot about. I'm the same way with Game of Thrones, like how everybody trashed the last season. I have not seen the last season because of that. I'm trying to like get it out of my brain, some of the stuff that I've seen, because I didn't want it spoiled. And at the same time, I don't want to just know I'm looking forward to what's considered the worst of the worst, because people always say that's the worst of the worst. And not only that, the later Disney Star Wars films, they were saying that as well. Like, oh, it's just so bad. I'm like, well,
I didn't go that far. For the Star Wars ones, I wouldn't go that far. I think the other ones are personally just better, but I wouldn't be like, oh, it's the worst thing in the world, personally. For the, what was the other thing we mentioned? For Game of Thrones. Yeah. I haven't watched the final season, but that's because I refuse to watch it.
Then you know something.
I know, and I refuse.
But I just...
And in my head, it ended the way I wanted instead. It was just, without spoiling anything, unless you know me, which I haven't brought it up to you, but it's just, in the end, the person who's all like, takes over and everything, is the one person for the entire series I hated. Like, I just didn't like this person for the whole series. And that's who's important in the end. So I just refused to watch it.
Yeah, so I think the story behind that, too, is like the original developer or creator just didn't get their version out in time. And they still needed something,
Well, yeah, other than that, they would have had to wait.
I was wondering, like, we're gonna get to it, like, probably right now, but like I wonder if Last of Us might end up being something like that, where it's like the game takes like a part 3. I think we mentioned it maybe a week before or something. Like, if they still need something because it's hot on HBO, and the second season didn't basically kill it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. They got to really focus on the zombies on the second season. Because I can already tell, I know from the game that they're holding back a little bit as far as gameplay stuff. Like, you don't see as much. But it's like, with it being mainly focused on the story, and the story of the second season is like, that's all you get. The one thing people didn't like. Like, yeah. So we'll talk about it in a second. But even though I missed a lot of shows, the one show I did see that wasn't that good, or one movie I should say, was Matrix Resurrections. You know, that one wasn't really that good. I did see that, but there is still going to be a Constantine 2. You know,
so after James Gunn had talked about the slate of DC, he definitely didn't mention Constantine 2, which got people worried, but they've assured that it was officially announced that it is still happening. A spokesperson at Warner Bros. Was like, it's not scrapped. They have a director, they have a writer, and everything. Like, it is happening for Constantine 2. I think it's just one of the movies that James Gunn was saying will specifically be labeled as a DC Elsewhere or Elseworld movie, which means it's not part of their main continuity.
Yes, I think it's still part of, the retirement tour. I feel like it's still part of Keanu Reeves' swan song, because he's already, I don't know if he's 60. I think he is up there though. I think he is up there. He just don't look it. He takes care of himself, but he's up there, and I think he's getting ready to retire. He's giving everybody a sequel to all his biggest hits. The Matrix one was a dud, but you might not get a dud with Constantine. The only thing I'm saying is I don't want to see him like John Wick in Constantine. I want him to actually be Constantine versus like do the hair and everything, like be Constantine, because he was John Wick basically in the Matrix. You could tell he didn't care. He was like, yeah, I'm just doing this.
And yeah, he's 58.
Yeah, he up there.
So. Turning 59. Yep.
Yeah. And I guess what's up with Netflix real quick?
So Netflix is triple backing. So first they were like, you can't share your password.
Okay.
Then they were like, our bad, that message wasn't for the U.S. It was for outside the U.S.
That whole thing is silly, but yeah, keep going.
Now they clarified, and even though their stuff is for outside the U.S. and they're showing it, they basically said this is going to be coming to the U.S. at some point. But they were saying that, one, it was always supposed to only be shared within the household.
Mm-hmm.
2, you set up a primary location, and then you can manage all accounts from that. If you need to transfer your profile, so basically your account was under somebody else's, and now you're not allowed to use it anymore, you'll be able to move your profile to your own account. So you don't have to restart stuff. You could still watch while you travel. And if you need to have an account under yours that's never going to log into your home network, then you can buy an extra member for an extra like $8 a month. That's what they're doing. So if you're a parent and you pay for Netflix, and then your kid goes to school and they can't come home every 30 days to like put their laptop under your Wi-Fi to show that they're under that network, then you could pay an extra $8 a month, and they get to have Netflix at the school. That's what they're doing now.
Okay.
Oh, and that only works if you have the standard or premium plans, which are $15 to $20 a month already. So you have to pay $23 to $28 a month to still share it, and you could share it with one other person if you're standard, because you can only have 2 simultaneous streams, and you're only eligible for 1 extra membership. Or you can get 2 extra memberships at premium, but then it's like $8 per member.
All I'm saying is, you thought my stuff, what I was saying with emulation was bad. I've been seeing memes of everybody like bringing back Pirate Bay.
So,
Everybody just shouting it out like they about to go back to Pirate Bay.
so
That's what
something
I
I
was
had
seeing.
mentioned before was like I've done things honestly and everything because I can. That don't mean I need to. Just saying. So I'm already canceling my Netflix at the end of the month. It
Oh,
was because
okay.
I had a few people undermine. So I told them, and like they have until the end of February to binge whatever they need to binge, and then it's canceled. I am canceled because they're not implementing this yet, but they're not
Hmm.
about to surprise me with this being implemented. Like that's the whole thing because they're like it's coming at some point in the future. They keep wishy washing when they're going to do it. It was announced last year, and then they held it back till this year. They were about to kick it in March, and then they're like, "Oh no, sorry, that's for overseas." When they saw the backlash, so they're just going to sneak this in at some point and
Yeah.
call it a terms and agreement update. So we cancel it. Like I was already not wanting to spend this much on it, and was only holding it for other people, to be honest. So I was
Okay.
like, this thing can go. And what was funny is in their comments, because I don't be on there like that. To be honest, I be on like HBO and Hulu. I don't be on
Okay.
Netflix like that. When I get on Netflix is when I go, oh shoot, I haven't been watching anything on Netflix, and then I go on there and binge like a show or two, or maybe watch a movie or two, and then I
Yeah.
turn it back off. I could still get all that stuff elsewhere. I'm just saying, like I could
Right.
do that easily. I just know some people who had trouble doing that. And that's where I was being nice. Now, with that also said, in their comments where people were calling them out, Pluto TV has been all up in the Netflix comments advertising themselves.
That's
So one
hilarious.
person showed like there were Netflix in 2017 said
Shout out
love
to
is
Pluto.
sharing a yep, they were like love is sharing a password. So then somebody else commented love is dead because Netflix is saying you can't share it. And then Pluto replied, love is still alive with Pluto TV. It's free. Like they keep doing that. So they keep going under comments going, you can share as much as you want for Pluto TV. It's free. And I just want to say, shout out to Pluto TV. I use that too.
Yeah.
And watch Pluto TV.
For
Everyone go
any
there.
Yeah, if anybody's a budget gamer, I remember thinking about like some of the people I would put on, like kids or whatever, who really just don't have it. You know, as far as like they don't have the funds to get a bunch of stuff. So I think you and me talked about this too, like stuff that they can get that's free to play games. Like I
Uh-huh.
discovered Pluto TV and Tubi directly under the PS4 at the time. And they're basically well, Tubi is more of a like a free Netflix ish thing that's actually starting to get popular now because so many people keep doing all these hood street movies. And so that's starting to actually catch up because there's a lot of people in the community, people that we know personally here that are in those movies. Like people I know on social media personally have movies on Tubi. And I actually was open to the idea that like maybe I would star in something like that one day if I really get going and I just start to branch out. I'm not
Why not?
opposed to it. I'm not opposed to it. It looks fun, and it also looks like it almost seems like you could just put anything on there at this point.
Yeah.
Um, and then Pluto was more of the TV kind of way. Like they set it up where it's almost like a hybrid between like the like almost like a hybrid of YouTube and something like Comcast almost. Like it's like something like that where they have
Yeah, it's
like
free
this.
TV. Like they stream TV channels, kinda.
Yeah,
They have like a Tosh Point oh channel where it just shows Tosh
yeah,
Point oh.
it's some sort of hybrid like thing, and they've shown
Yeah.
old TV shows and movies that you've seen in the past that are like kind of outdated. Almost everything that seems to go straight to DVD and not make any money like goes to these services, I guess. And as long as you got your internet, you can watch it. If you log in from your phone and log in on your
Uh-huh.
system, you could pick up where you left off on the next platform. So like if you start at on your phone somewhere and then you come home, you can pick off on the system similar to if you was doing cloud
And
gaming.
they're
Yeah.
still content rich and everything. And
Yeah.
I would say for the people who really like, for whatever reason, there's some shows on Netflix that you just love, like
Yeah.
You, Wednesday, Cobra Kai, those ones. My suggestion: if you're really not into like getting it by other means, like if you're really just not comfortable doing that, which some people just aren't, or they just don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
What I suggest is wait till all of them are just out and on there, and then pick a month that you know you'll have some free time, right? Like some people, especially college students, like you're gonna have some extra time during December or like over the summer or things like that.
Yeah.
And then give you know, if you're gonna pay like $10 because it's just the one streaming page that you need just for yourself, $10, binge all of it because that's what people do now. You just binge anyways. So binge all of it and then turn it right back off if you really want to do that. I'm not giving them any of my money, but like, do that. Like that's still gonna, like to me, it'll still get the lesson across. But I know some people are just not gonna want to boycott it. But like, if you're not on there every single day, there's really no reason to still have Netflix because like HBO Max has better content. Hulu is way better already, especially for a lot of shows. And honestly, the best part of Netflix was their original content. The original content was still meh.
I will say for Tubi, almost everything that gets canceled off of one of those services usually end up on Tubi. Not immediately, but it does end up there sometimes. And then there's also this thing of like a public domain movie, which I didn't know was like a thing that just ends up there as well. So yeah, so if somebody just all of a sudden don't own the rights to anything, all of a sudden it just ends up there, and it'll be a lot of stuff that you've seen with bigger actors just from the past. It's just people just have these catalogs that's just there. And yeah, maybe one day Last of Us might end up there. Who knows? Maybe the second season for sure might end up there. Maybe not the first, but yeah. So Last of Us episode 4 and 5. For 4, it's not too much I wanted to say. Last thing in the show. Yeah.
I was gonna say one thing for 4. It was like fine for the plot setup. I liked the interactions.
Yeah.
It was Joel and Ellie. Like that stuff was good. However, I was like, man, that's 2 straight episodes with like no zombies. Like when I was watching it, that was my thought process. But
they made up for it later, I guess. But
oh yeah, they did.
One thing that I took away from episode 4, I know it's probably nitpicking. I was just saying like this should have been episode 3. That's just kind of how I felt about that. Like it's because they were really finally starting to show some of the dynamic between the two, the more father-daughter dynamic, I guess. It's like you really start to see it flesh out in episode 4, and they were introducing that new character lady, and then her angle leading up to Sam and I forgot his name. I just know Super Sam and Henry. Yeah, so yeah. Now, as far as for that one shootout scene, it did play off similar to how it did in the game. I believe in the game, the original dude who was like, "Oh, I'm sick" or whatever, he was like a black dude, and he was like, "Are we gonna stop for him?" And then Joel was like, "He ain't even sick," and he just floored it. It was like hilarious. He floored it, and then the dude kind of pulled out the gun last second, and then we kind of like hit him, and then it like crashed, and then it does the same shootout scene or whatever, right?
Okay.
It does that. But there were some slight differences here. Going into episode 5. Well, do you want to say any more about episode 4 real quick, I guess?
No. I think it was good. I do think so. Again, from my perspective of like with episode 3.
Yeah.
I feel like if they could have taken episode 3 stuff and kind of shrunk it a bit to like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then input it with this one as well, and maybe shrunk some of this. So it would just be an episode of like heavy character development. You're really getting into this world.
Yeah, it
really
wasn't
seeing
there.
the interactions of people and things like that. I feel like all of that being one episode would have been great. Would have been much better. But
yeah, the main characters, everybody just took a backseat basically. But I was salty because the bloater fight wasn't there. Bloater, they showed the bloater in a different way in the episode 5. It was a switch up from what the game did, because in that scene the bloater was not there some of the other zombies was there, but it wasn't like a super horde. Like they didn't rush it. Like they just kind of was coming out and they were at normal speed. And like in the game, Joel kind of just picks them off one by one the same way he was in the show. But like in the game, you got to literally get every last one. Like you got to actually really pick them off before you get the story-ish part of how the people get bitten. For episode 5, yeah, that was a great moment. It was a great moment because you finally got some really action. It was like kind of missing for a little while.
Absolutely. As we were going through episode 5,
yeah,
I was starting to think, I was like, really 3 full episodes, no zombies? Like, what's going on? And
yeah, because it's still ending, 9 episodes, so yeah.
Yeah. That ending. Now, also, I had a question. Does this matter that I saw this in that, like, this was supposed to take place in Pennsylvania, and it took place in Kentucky?
So the way what I've noticed each episode, the way each episode ends, it's almost like it's completely lined up with the way the game would be, but the middle parts are always different. Like by the time, so the episode where it was like Frank and Bill, right? Once you got to the end of that, you're never going to see Frank and Bill again. Now we're not going to see him because they are both dead, right? In this show, but in the game, only Bill was alive, and he was just like, "Get out of my town" or whatever. But he kind of like just kind of said it like he didn't really mean it like in a mean way. But he was, well, kinda. Yeah, he kinda did. But we never see him again, not even in the second game.
Okay.
So it's like that would have happened anyway. Like at the end of game, or at the end of the episode 4, you know, Joel and Ellie was asleep, and then they wake up with them over there and stuff. Like they meet in that part of the game at some point, right? At the end of the next episode, yeah, the black dude does shoot himself in the head, and he does have to shoot his brother, but he in the game is not deaf. They made that change. He was not deaf. So it's like they do like little changes here and there. Obviously the woman and the backstory with her brother and stuff, like why she's after Henry, they made all that up. Like, well, not completely up. It was some stuff here and there, but for the most part, like in the game, you just meet another, like a mirror version of you. It's just like, here's a guy taking care of his kid, and it's almost like a there was no extra detail. Like he wasn't like super wanted. That was just something that they kind of threw that in there. They didn't have this military army that was like specifically trying to get him. They were just cleaning the area and everything. And, you know, because in the game, you fight zombies and then you fight like bad guys, and they kind of like go back and forth. Like by the time you get towards the end, you can see the patterns because it's like they kind of zigzag with it. You never got too many times where it's like you fight bad guys twice or zombies twice in each level, and it was more linear. It was like one and then the other, you know, in the game. But yeah, the change, the boy was deaf. He was not deaf before. And I remember in the game they had it where there was like a toy that the boy was playing with that they found, like you know how they went into the tunnel and it was like a there was like this area where it looked like a kid's area in the tunnel. So like in the game, that was on like the base floor. They were not in a tunnel. And there was a toy that they said don't pick up, and they picked it up anyway. And they weren't supposed to pick it up because it made noise or whatever. And they picked it up anyway. So they didn't show the toy. It looked like a generic Megazord, basically, or something like that. They didn't show it here. They kind of just like left that out. And so yeah, that was missing, but it was okay. Like it was still just for that segment. Because he's deaf, they, you know, had the thing with the drawing board and everything, but by the time we got to the end of the episode, it still would have left off the same way the game would, where they're moving forward and those two are just dead. That's kind of like like it still finishes the same way a game would finish, where it's like up to this point, it could have been exactly the same, even though they change little things here and there. So I expect them to keep changing as they go.
Yeah.
And then the hot part, the bloater fight, the big moment where they just ran out of there, like past the fire and everything and stuff, and it was just like crazy and everybody shooting. And then the bloater finally comes out, and the one guy is just like kind of shocked because he was a little fearful of it. Like I was saying before off air, I was like, I don't know why he just stood there, because he kind of knew, because in the game, it's an instant kill in the game if you get too close. And that's what it was. He grabbed him and just tore him off. Like, I was like, yo,
he just like
tore fatality.
Just, like,
fatality.
I expected to like eat him or something. He just snapped him.
Yeah, the bloater is on that level. He is really aggressive. Very, very aggressive. Yeah, and then it was like a lot of clickers and stuff. And it's an interesting detail that I think is unique to this, where I guess the bloater had the ability to tunnel underground, I guess. And like we had the tease from last time where I guess he might have been by himself or whatever, but he was moving around in the ground from episode 4 for a split second. And they like...
So I thought they were just saying all the infected that they pushed underground were pushing back up. That's what I thought was happening.
Yeah, I don't know. He was tunneling a little bit, because like when we got to the point where they like, you know, ran into the house with the truck and it started to sink in, it was like I could only imagine that there was probably another tunnel point or something, because it was it was like sinking in like quicksand almost. And they were putting more emphasis on it, where it was kind of weird looking, because it was like I never really saw that. And they were just like, they kept panning back to it like it's on fire, but it's sinking. And then next thing you know, when they first ran out, I remember my jaw dropped, man, like them YouTube thumbnails. I was like, yo,
everybody's dead.
It was crazy moment. It was a crazy moment. It was so chaotic. And they're like in and out of cars and crawling around and trying to move.
There was a short part where some lady had a gun and she was shooting. While a zombie had her neck and was pulling her back, and she was just screaming. And it was like so quick. And I was like, that sucks.
And that one lady, you know, that there was like the character plot for a couple episodes where she's like the evil bad guy. Yeah, she got tore apart by the clicker. That clicker was just jumping on her and being crazy. It was crazy.
It didn't even try to bite her right away. It just jumped on her and started swinging.
It was crazy.
On her. I got real mad when like you see all this going on and they were running. She goes, "Hey, no." And like Hosa's like, "What is you doing? Just follow him."
Yeah.
Like, why is you holding them there?
I was surprised that she was kind of still standing around a little bit, her and her right-hand man, because I was like, y'all really caused your own death. I would have thought that they would have just scurried out of there quick, because even though she wanted to be the one who killed him, it was like that was one of those chaotic scenes where like you could have just really let the clickers do it, and then you check back later and see the body or kill him when he becomes a zombie.
Yeah.
But to have that type of thing going on and the bloater out there, oh my God, like, there was one thing, like they never really officially called it a bloater. I think like it wasn't really a gripe, but I know they had an explanation for it in the game. The first time you saw him, it was supposed to be you as Joel, Ellie, and Bill. And they were just like, it's a bloater. And they were like, what's a bloater? That's what Ellie was saying. And then they was like explaining it and everything, like after they was fighting. But they wasn't really, like, even though they got away from the infected, nobody really pointed that one out. If you notice, it was just like, they were kind of relaxing in the hotel or whatever, and the little boy was bitten. But I expected to be like an explanation or something where Ellie asked about it. She didn't really do that. She just kind of was just playing with the kid, Sam. So if you are somebody who only seen the show and you're going off of the show, you technically don't know the name of that. If you really think about it, you don't know unless somebody says something to you.
Right.
And so it's not too much of a gripe. I was just wondering why it just wasn't mentioned. That's all. I'm sure they might go there later on, or maybe they won't. Who knows? But for everybody who didn't know, yes, it's a bloater. Yeah.
I do feel bad for Ellie though, because it's like, like in a matter of like 24 to 48 hours, she got to see someone fake ask for help, but it turns out it's actually an ambush, so you never know who you can trust. Then she had to shoot a person. Then she had to hear the person beg for their life as they was stabbed. Then wake up to a gun pointed to her face. Be friends with these people, only to have the little boy turn and try and eat her. And then the brother have to shoot. Then with grief, shoot himself right after they survive a night where humans tried to kill them and then a bunch of zombies tried to kill them. Like that, she has had the worst 48 hours possible. Where the only positive thing was
it's gonna get worse for her though, I can tell you that.
Let's also point out the fact that like part of the reason they got lost is because she doesn't know how to read a map since it's only her second day in a car.
Yeah.
So yeah, the only positive thing was that she was able to make Joel laugh.
Yeah, it's gonna get worse. I think the very next episode is about to do that, which is episode 6, and so it's moving right along. We're gonna have to wait a long
time for that.
Huh?
We're gonna have to wait a long time for that.
Oh, that's not next Sunday?
Episode 5 got moved up because of the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So that means it's gonna be all of next week. There is no new episode.
Oh, I didn't know they were pushing it back. Okay.
Yeah, it moved from Sunday to Friday because of the Super Bowl. Okay. So that means there is no new episode Super Bowl Sunday, the day this podcast comes out. And then the full week, nothing until the following Sunday.
Oh, okay. I think the fans will be okay. I think a lot of people are gonna be replaying that 5th episode part.
Oh,
that's what I think. Yeah, I've been saving everything. You know what's funny? I don't know if I really want to replay everything like that. Maybe a couple years from now, but I know for certain, man, I'm probably gonna end up skipping 3. I'm gonna be honest. I'm still salty over the bloater fight, but we did get another bloater fight. Hopefully they show the bloater one more time at least. It might not be twice. In the game he shows up I think 3 times total. 3 or 4 times. I think it's like 5 bloaters, but you see like one of them you have to face 2 bloaters at a time. That's in the game. And I'm hoping they still keep that same energy, I guess. But they've been introducing this horde. Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it because they've been introducing that horde mode where everybody's running in a horde. And that's not something we've seen since like actually the beginning of Last of Us 2 only. Like they haven't really been like in horde mode like that. Definitely in Days Gone, the game, but not in the show. So it's interesting to see that. So yeah. I think we are almost done. Is there anything else you want to say about Last of Us? As far as 5?
For me, episode 5 was the 10 out of 10. Oh, best episode.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that's the best episode. Yeah, I think I would have to go there too because you got enough story, but then you got enough action. Where almost every episode before, it was more focused on story and drama, but it wasn't an action. Like it wasn't a section of just action where it focuses on zombies. It was like one of the first time where the focus felt like that at that moment. And it was like, yo, it really hit the fan because it was like we had to almost like they didn't really join forces. Like there wasn't enough time to even process joining forces. It was just like, we got to survive if you can. So yeah. So yeah, look forward to 6. I think next week though, even though if we don't mention it next week, that's still gonna be a jam-packed show. I think we're gonna still have a lot of stuff to talk about I got a couple surprises for next week. For anybody who made it this far, I got a surprise that I'm not even going to tell my co-hosts after we go off air. I'm saving it for next week because I'll give you a hint. There is actually a way you can get Zelda Tears of the Kingdom for $60. There is one way. There is one way. I know it, and the general public will not know it. You got to make it to the end of the podcast in order for me to tell you, and I will tell you at the somewhere in the middle of next week's podcast, because it's actually not something that's too time sensitive. You can do this at any moment. There's a loophole that I found, and I am going to take advantage of it. So it's going to be a very interesting loophole, amazing surprise that I'm going to have my co-host next week. I don't know if he's going to be ready for this type of surprise, but I will tell you it is involving Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. For everybody who want to save that $10, I have a way for you. I do.
Okay.
So I got surprises, man. You're going to like this surprise. I think you're going to really like this surprise. You're going to really like this. But that's the end of it, man. We went just as long as last time. I don't want this to be a trend, but I honestly think next week it might end up being like that as well. Where we're going to just, have longer content over 2 hours. It probably won't be like 2:45 like this time, but it will be over 2 hours at least. Because
if I'm going to talk about Hogwarts,
because you still got all the Hogwarts, and then we're going to watch about an hour's worth of your content there. So we're at the end. I'm actually also announcing for this episode going forward, I'm not going to be telling y'all to wash the back of y'all ears anymore. I had to really think about it one day, and I'm like, you know what? Everybody's getting offended by every little thing. Something as tame as that is offensive to somebody. So I'm going to just be like, yo, have a great day, basically. We're gonna tame it back down, man, before I get canceled out here in these streets for telling people to take a bath or something. So we're not going to say that no more, at least me. I'm not going to say that no more. Big surprise next week. I'm going to help you save a little bit of money. There is a loophole out there that I found that's very interesting, that people are going to be excited about. My co-host is going to be very excited about this too, even though he's not going to play this game right away. I think he's going to be excited about this particular loophole because it involves something very big, and we're going to have a big show next week, and I'm going to try to get some solo content out, in between, because I ain't really do that because I was really doing a whole lot of homework for other projects, other things. And then I also did some homework for this channel because I had to make sure I watched 2 episodes and edit a video and get it out yesterday of the Nintendo Direct. I had to do that at the same time due to Last of Us shows. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get it all done in time, but the Nintendo edit was still like a couple days late. It was just, I'm only one man show. Hopefully I can get some employees. That would be awesome. I ain't got no money though. But any last words for us, man? Any last words?
Go get Pluto TV. It's free.
Oh yeah. Shout out to all our unofficial sponsors. Maybe that could be an unofficial sponsor for my second channel. My channel, I have not started anything yet, even though it's supposed to be about movies and TVs. I could be like, yo, you could watch this random movie of somebody I know in real life playing on Tubi. You get to see all the streets, including mine. Because that's what I be seeing. Shout out to the buffs inside of Hogwarts. Everybody have a great day. Huge surprise next week. It is huge. My co-host has no idea how huge this is. This is huge. This is a huge loophole. I'm the sales guy, first of all. People don't know I catch the sales. And this is an interesting loophole that I found. And it's all legal, all legit. I'm not doing nothing crazy here. It's all legal. Okay. You'll be able to, this ain't no Steam Deck stuff. You're going to be playing on your Switch physical copy. But yeah, that's all I got for you here. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Have a great, fantastic day. Enjoy whatever winter.
To wash the back of your ears.
Oh, see, he did it. All right, he canceled, not me. Y'all can't get me. All right, and we are out. Have a great day, people.